Ball League is brought to you by Starter. Look for the stars and you'll find Starter. By Mitsubishi, bringing you a full line of award-winning automobiles. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around. By Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you friends know when to say when. And by John Nuveen and Company, quality tax-free investment since 1898.
Sunny skies in Atlanta, but a gloomy picture on the sideline for the Seahawks and an injured Kelly Stauffer. As the punt from Tootin is taken by Deion Sanders, hurdling his way to the midfield stripe. Let's look once again at that blitz by Jordan and the difficult process for Fiesel.
Well, Fiesel, the center here, has to come out and try to get on the strong safety on a blitz. Now, that's a hard assignment. Now, Jordan goes ahead and gets him. You'll see him taking him down, but Rick Bryan is the guy that comes in and delivers the kill shot. Jordan around his right leg, and then, of course, when Bryan unloads on him, something gives, and it looks like it's going to be his right knee, and Stauffer may be done for the day, Joel. That was a pretty bad shot he took.
So Miller and the red gun attack back in great field position at the 50-yard line, leading by a couple, 2-0 Atlanta. And Tommy Glavitt's not on the mound today, believe it or not. Throwing on first down, and it's complete to Michael Haynes. Tops in the NFL with a 22-yard average. He gets 9 on that reception. Offensive line, Mike Kent seems to go on forever. Hoover, Dukes, Ruther, and Hinton, and they also have Bill Fralick back this week, so depth on the offensive line. Eric Pegram, the rookie in the backfield. You'll see Broussard as well, along with Tracy Johnson. Rising and Haynes, the wideouts, along with tight end Andre Bruce. And when they go to the red gun, Mike Pritchard, another rookie, comes into the contest, along with George Thomas. And Kelly Stauffer, it appears to be that he is done for the afternoon, so we will see Dave Craig. 2nd and a yard, and movement up front. On the defensive front, it was Jeff Bryant. Was he drawn off, though?
I don't believe so, Joel. The offensive line set in there pretty good, and that's something that you're going to get as a defensive lineman. Now, you know that Atlanta wants to throw the ball, and you want to get a pass rush, and it's crucial to get off on the snap, so you're going to see those guys trying to get a little quick start every once in a while. That's a shame about Stauffer, though, Joel.
5-yard penalty will be 2nd down.
You know, here's a guy that, you know, really was telling us yesterday, hey, I feel like it's time for me, and, you know, we see that he's not going to be able to play today because of that injury. It does look like it is going to be against Atlanta.
Well, he compared it to Chris Miller, who came out the same year in the draft. And when Chris Miller was taken by the Atlanta Falcons, Kelly Stauffer told us they made an investment in Chris Miller. I haven't had a team yet that has made an investment in me.
Well, it looks like they're going to have to invest in him next year because he may be done for this year.
2nd and 6 from the 46 of Seattle. The delay for Steve Broussard. And he appears to be a yard short of the first down marker. And we update you on scores around the NFL on the Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker. An early touchdown for the Browns, a week too late as far as the Browns and Bill Belichick are concerned, after losing 17-7 to Denver last week and knocking them out of the playoff picture. And Pittsburgh on a touchdown pass by Bobby Brister on top of Cincinnati. So now it's going to be 3rd and a yard for the Falcons. This is the last game at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium for the Atlanta Falcons. Next year it's the Georgia Dome. Broussard, and he won't pick up the first down. Great penetration by the defensive front of Seattle.
Well, Bill Fralick, the fine right guard, has got his hands full here working at 77. Jeff Bryant, now Big Jeff, gets up the field and creates such a penetration that the back Broussard is unable to get a good clean cutback, and that's what you have to have against Seattle. You've got to have good clean holes, because with a 4-man line, those big strong guys can reach out and slap you down with one arm. So that was a good job by Bryant shutting down that inside hole.
So now Atlanta has started with the ball at their own 49 and also at the midfield stripe. And on both occasions, it's been 3 snaps and out for a very proficient offense. Bullhay punting it away to Chris Warren. Warren calling for the fair catch right at the 10. And that's for Seattle and Dave Craig. We'll put it back into play when we return. So the reps all week long went to Kelly Stauffer, but he's gone very early, and Craig comes into the contest.
The problem is, the more income your investments earn, the more taxes are taken out. Which is why you should consider a tax-free investment from John Nuveen and Company. Because with Nuveen, the more you earn, the more you keep. Ask your financial advisor about Nuveen tax-free investments, or simply call this number.
You know what's smart? This Magnavox digital CD shelf system that's incredibly powerful, compact, but what's really smart is this Magnavox 8mm Easy Cam that weighs less than 2 pounds. But what's really brilliant is this 13-inch TV with a built-in VCR. But what's ingenious is this 31-inch with a smart window that lets you see other channels and swap the picture. You know what's smart? This Magnavox digital CD... Again. Go away.
The ingenious products from Magnavox. They're smart, very smart.
The creators of the Mitsubishi 3000 GT, 1991 Motor Trend Import Car of the Year, proudly present the stunning new Mitsubishi Eclipse for 1992. Because nothing livens up a family like a little sibling rivalry. The Eclipse from Mitsubishi. The word is getting around.
Stoffer already out with a sprained knee, on his way to the locker room for x-rays. So Dave Craig takes over now. And Tim Green was telling us yesterday in our meeting with the Falcons, Dan, that they were worried about Dave Craig. They felt positive about Kelly Stoffer getting the start because they thought that Craig lent so much more with his mobility.
Well, he does. He's able to get out of that pocket now. Atlanta's going to blitz an awful lot pretty much every down. So Craig is going to be able to handle that a little bit better.
First down, outside the 10. Jones breaking tackles out of the backfield across the 15, all the way to the 18-yard line, so 8 on the carry for James Jones. And let's go to Bob Costas now for an update.
This is Bob Costas in New York. Pittsburgh is on the board first at home against Cincinnati off this Bubby Brister pass to Adrian Cooper. Poor tackling by the Bengals. Cooper goes in 47 yards for the touch, and the Steelers lead it 7-0 against the Bengals.
Thank you, Bob. This is the third time that the Seahawks have had the ball, and every time deep in their own territory. It's James Jones. Springs ahead for the first down. Out close to the 24-yard line.
You know, the thing that is kind of jumps out at you when you watch this Atlanta defense, Joel, is obviously the fact that they blitz, they move around an awful lot, they use a lot of different fronts and coverages, but wherever the ball is at the end of the play, there's always going to be 5, 8, 9, 10 guys around it. They fly around, and you know, you talk about some defenses are kind of a pedestrian defense. Everybody, they're kind of walking around if the ball is coming into their area. Not these guys. They got a rocket going, and they're going to get to the ball.
First down from the 24. Love affair going on between the city and the Falcons. Carry over from the Braves, of course. As Craig goes up top, has his man Brian Blades for the first down with a flag on the play. Blades with a nice grab, stretching out across the middle. And it was Scott Case putting them down.
Well, we talked about how fine the Falcon receivers are, but you know, the Seahawks have a couple of real good players, and Brian Blades and Tommy Kane, and there you saw Blades on a deep crossing pattern, and that's a kind of a gut check for receivers. They don't like to go in there if they've got a little timid in their soul. So, you know, Blades is a guy that you can throw the ball in there and know he'll catch it.
We have an illegal contact. Number 60, 21 on the defense. We've got illegal use of hands. Number 63 on the offense. We will replay the down. It will be first down.
Deion Sanders for the Falcons and Ronnie Lee for the Seattle Seahawks. So a big play negated for Blades and Dave Craig. And on the sideline, Chuck Knox. Is it his second to last game as the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks? We spoke with him. He doesn't feel the pressure. In fact, when you talk to other coaches around the NFL, there's so much respect. You know, if Chuck Knox is not back with the Seattle Seahawks, there will be plenty of other teams interested. Now, he is in the, well, not the last year. He's got 2 more years remaining, but there's a 30-day window at the end of the season where either Chuck Knox or the Seahawks can say, see you later. It's been nice for 9 years. It's coming on Craig. Had to get rid of it early, and a flag is down on the play as it falls incomplete.
It's hard to say. It could be holding, but it could be intentional grounding there because there was really nobody. That looks like what it is.
So it's a hold on the offense.
Holding, 71 offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat the down. First down.
The right guard, Brian Millard. But back to the Chuck Knox story. It's almost ironic. John Robinson now reportedly out as the head coach of the Rams. Now, John Robinson got the head coaching job with the Los Angeles Rams because Chuck Knox wasn't waiting. Once he got an offer after coaching the Buffalo Bills, he got an offer from the Seattle Seahawks. He took it. Many felt he was going to go to the Los Angeles Rams, and it could be ironic now because there is talk in Los Angeles with Robinson on his way out. Chuck Knox could be on his way in. I don't think there's any doubt, though, Dan, that the Rams are going to be talking to other candidates like Buddy Ryan.
Well, I don't think that, you know, it's a given that Chuck is out of Seattle. I know there was some talk about the owner last week showing or expressing some dissatisfaction, saying things like, well, we've got some guys on the bench that should be playing, decisions that are made by the head coach. But, you know, I don't see how you can question a guy like this. This has been a very trying year for Chuck. He told me just before the game, hey, this may be the longest year I've ever had to spend in coaching. So, you know, I don't know if it's time to push the panic button up in Seattle.
First and 20 from the 14 of the Seahawks. Craig on the short one to Travis McNeil. Nice overfield tackle by Brian Jordan. The strong safety getting help from Scott Case as McNeil gets the reception for short yardage.
Well, the Falcons are running a stunt here with Epps coming around. Craig very wisely gets the ball off to his relief man. McNeil able to get some good yardage and try to make up some of those penalty yards that the offensive line had put him into a pretty big hole. First a tackle holding and then the right guard holding. So, you know, that's a smart way to get it back, just a little bit at a time.
Second and 15 from the 19. A 2-0 Atlanta lead. Minute 26 left in the first 15 minutes of play. Deep drop this time for Dave Craig and problems. Ryan after him. Sack for Atlanta as Craig is down. Tippin's also in there, the linebacker, in his third year from Middle Tennessee State. They are deep defensively. Play a lot of people, Dan.
They do, and one of the reasons is that they make so much happen by just playing on all-out effort. Here you'll see 5 guys rushing the passer there. Craig trying to get out by a little time. Couldn't see anything and went ahead and went down. Now, Rick Bryan is really the only big guy they have up front. You know, Green is kind of undersized. Bo Gardner, the rookie nose guard, he's kind of undersized. But they live vicariously by being active and using a lot of different fronts and blitzing pretty much every play.
Third and 18 now. Back at the 16. Out of the shotgun. Well short of the first down. The reception taken in by Lewis Clark. But a punting situation once again for Seattle. I think it goes back to what Grant Fiesel, the center for the Seahawks, told us yesterday. When you watch film of the Atlanta Falcons, all 11 want to be around the ball on the tackle. They are flying around constantly.
I don't know if they have incentive programs for tackles and sacks, but if they do, these guys are going to it's going to hurt the franchise because they are always on that football.
Rick Tootin, third year from Florida State. His first conventional punt of the afternoon. He did punt it away once on the safety, and Deion Sanders waiting back around the 35. Tootin sends out a beauty. And Sanders goes down. And down early to make sure he stayed down for the Seattle Seahawks. It was Thomas, the extra wide receiver.
A lot of women find my looks intimidating. Do you?
My mother makes the best brisket. There I was in the Congo.
Why is a good man so hard to find?
Just a minute, okay?
Why ask why? Try Bud Dry. It's dry brewed, not watered down. To drink light, yet satisfy completely. So while men aren't perfect,
You finished that?
at least refreshment is.
It's not a wagon, not a van, but whatever you're dragging, Expo can. Introducing Mitsubishi Expo and Expo LRV.
Got some stuff with a lot of people? Expo seats from 7 deep. Well, got some people with a lot of stuff? LRV is more than enough. Not too big, not too small. Available with all-wheel drive, they'll haul you every day or on a getaway. Expo and Expo LRV. We call them sport wagons, but they're whatever you want them to be. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
This holiday, MasterCard helps you give the people on your list their favorite things with the Master Values program. Save 10 to 25% on specially featured merchandise when you use MasterCard for Mattel toys at Toys R Us. Top-selling books at B. Dalton Bookseller and fine jewelry and more at Service Merchandise. Look for Master Values at these and other fine stores, only from MasterCard. Think of it as our holiday gift to you.
Case of the mystery blonde had us all tied up.
When you can't get to the picture, only Minolta's Freedom starts zooming it to you automatically.
Shoot! The secretary. You hired her.
Freedom zoom cameras.
Only from the mind of Minolta.
Updating you once again on the Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker. Joel Myers back in Atlanta along with Dan Hampton. Dan, Jerry Glanville did coach you once. It was in the '81 Pro Bowl, and I think there was an incentive clause, wasn't there, at halftime? Didn't he come in and offer the defensive linemen and some of the defensive backs incentive to get to the quarterback for sacks? What was it, a crisp $100 bill for each sack?
Well, that's the thing about Glanville. I mean, he's always going to do something to spice it up, and I think I got into him for a little bit of money that day.
Yeah, but he still owes you as far as I know. They give going to Pegram. He's out to 25 for a couple of yards. Eric Pegram, rookie from North Texas State. Knocked down by Terry Wooden, left side linebacker in the 4-3 scheme for Tom Catlin, the defensive coordinator for Seattle. There's a whole new atmosphere, though, with the Atlanta Falcons. A 5-11 year, their first season under Jerry Glanville. And like Chris Miller told us, it was a tomb here. Just about 3 years ago, you come into the locker room before a game, and it was deathly quiet. Now, Jerry Glanville, he comes in and he turns up the volume on the boom boxes. He wants to hear it blasting.
Well, except he wants country and not something like Run DMC and the rap groups that all the players want.
2nd and 8 from a true country fan, Dan Hampton. Delay for Broussard. Breaking tackles. Nifty move. Just short of the first down by about a yard.
You know, Joel, I think it's just a matter of time till a lot of people around the country start figuring out, hey, Atlanta's got a very, very good running back down here. Now, you know, a lot of people haven't heard of Broussard that much, but let me tell you this. We played these guys in the last year, and I remember our defensive line coach, John Lever, saying, hey, guys, when we went to the scouting combine, I thought this guy was as talented as any football player I'd ever seen. So I think it's just a matter of time before everybody else starts figuring out, hey, this guy has got something special.
Just away from the future, though. Barry Sanders at 5'7", also Steve Broussard at 5'7". You can't find them because they're too small. And with great cutting ability, it's got to be tough to bring them down.
It really is. It's the arm tackling.
Pegram diving, and it appears he does have the first down, yes, across the 34. Well, the atmosphere I was just talking about has turned around so drastically in the right direction under Jerry Glanville. He said, come here. Yesterday we were in the Falcons offices. He says, look at our team picture. He says, this is what it's all about. Not your normal team picture. Jerry Glanville wanted everybody in the team picture. It truly is a family atmosphere here in Atlanta.
Well, it's not the Adams family, but these guys are getting pretty scary, and they're starting to get everyone's attention around the NFL.
First down for the Falcons from their own 35. Miller has to unload early. It's complete with a flag down in the play. Breaking a tackle, the wide receiver, George Thomas, out of UNLV in his 3rd season. What is the penalty all about, though? Thrown in the secondary.
You know, that's a problem with this Atlanta offense. You start worrying about Haynes, you start worrying about Rice, and then all of a sudden they've got some other guys that can really make a big play if you don't make sure you do some of the certain things that you have to, which is keep them in front and make sure tackles. There we had a missed tackle, and it's going to cost the Seahawks pretty good.
We have holding on the defense, number 25. The penalty will be declined. It'll be first down.
Called on the strong safety, Robert Blackman. It is declined, though, and it's a first down for the Falcons in Seattle territory inside the 44-yard line.
Well, see, the thing is, a lot of these safeties aren't used to covering man-on-man, and that's one thing this red gun forces you into. You've got usually two corners where you've got to bring those safeties up and make them play man-on-man. There, Blackman called for holding, trying to get a little edge.
First down for the Falcons, leading by 2. And Miller going up top. It's complete to Andre Rison. He is short of the first down, but gets just about 6 on that reception. Rison had 6 receptions from Chris Miller last week and has a chance to set an NFL record today for the most receptions by a wide receiver in the first 3 years of his career. His 207 coming into the contest. That's his first of the day. The record of 212 held by Sterling Sharp of the Packers, and also the great wide receiver of years gone by, Tom Fears of the Rams. The 48, 49, and 1950 seasons for Tom Fears. 72, make it 73 catches now for Andre Rison this season. Trips on one side for Miller, and it's Broussard. He is so quick. And very close to a first down. Let's see where they put him out of bounds. Does he have another? Yes, it is an Atlanta first down.
Well, what you saw there was an audible, Joel. If you look, there's no linebackers in the screen. Now, a quarterback's got to fall dead not to see that and go ahead and audible and give it to a good fullback or a good running back. I mean, you've got to be able to make 3 yards if there's no linebackers in the box. Now, we talk about the box is that area between the tackles about 3 yards deep behind the line of scrimmage. That's just a smart play by the quarterback, Chris Miller.
Does it go back to what Jerry Glanville told us yesterday? We don't call plays from the sideline. We make suggestions. We give them to Chris Miller, and then it's up to him.
Well, I think that's what you have to do. So much is controlled on the field. You got to give the quarterback a chance to make something happen.
That's the end of the first 15 minutes of play. One dominated by the Atlanta Falcons, despite the fact that they only lead by 2.
It took all day. But they finally came up with one very big idea. What do you bet they printed on a laser jet from Hewlett-Packard?
I knew stress was part of the job. But my first day really put me to the test. By the evening, the stress gave me a headache that was so bad, I didn't think the pounding would stop. Thank goodness one of the doctors gave me Tylenol. Imagine, with all the pain relievers they have at the hospital, they use what I use. It made a real difference. Then I could too.
Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Panasonic presents a new breed of smooth operator. The new Smooth Operator rechargeable razor unites the old-fashioned closeness of a warm, wet shave with the convenience and no-nick comfort of an electric. Don't try this with any plugged-in razor. Smooth Operator wet-dry razors from Panasonic. Smoother than you ever thought you'd be.
For the battery that performs 3 times better than industry standards, you've got to get to Sears.
Out here, if you don't have a Die-Hard, you don't have a prayer.
Sears Die-Hard. More power when you need it most.
Who's going to back it better than Sears?
The orchestrator of the red gun attack, Jerry Glanville, and his offensive coordinator, June Jones. They've been shut down for the most part in the first quarter of play. But they have basically controlled the trenches in the early going. Very emotional team. A fiery head coach. And on the opposite side, so many question marks for the future of Chuck Knox and the Seattle Seahawks. Out of the shotgun on first down from the 32. Off the fingertips of Steve Broussard. Well, Dan, yesterday we found out, and we'd heard about it over the previous couple of weeks, that the Atlanta Falcons were the California state champions. Now, you tried to make off with their championship trophy, but their team photographer caught you. A 6-0 record against teams from the state of California. Today, they're trying to make it 7-0 against all West Coast teams, and I asked Jerry Glanville, now is that the 4A or the 5A state championship? Said that's the 1A. #1, buddy.
Hey, that's a big trophy. I think it's taller than Glanville is, Joel. It's got to be almost 6 foot tall, but I think that's what's great. He puts a lot of fun in it, and the players really respond.
2nd and 10 from the 32 for Miller in the offense. Broussard weaving his way for just about 5 down to the 27. The man they call Tez, the first one in there, Cortez Kennedy on the stop. He's one you're very high on, Dan, the 1st-round pick last year out of the University of Miami.
Well, Joel, he's kind of cooled off here in the latter stage of the season, but, you know, I just think that this guy right here has still barely scratched the surface, and he's going to have his hands full today with the left guard for Atlanta, Houston Hoover. Now, Hoover's a great big guy, too. Usually Cortez has so much more strength and power, he can overpower these other offensive linemen, but today he's going to have to show some finesse and technique, and that's really the only thing he lacks.
2 wideouts to each side, and now Rison in motion on 3rd and 4. Miller pressured, guns in, it's complete for the 1st down. Michael Haynes has it inside the 14. Miller did a good job to elude the pressure.
Well, we'll see Kennedy now. We're talking about a little technique, but watch this inside fake, and then he slaps Hoover's hands off of him there. Now, actually, he's working against Bill Fralick. They moved Fralick over there to try to help control him. But that was a great pass by Miller here. Flushed out, throwing off of the run, able to gun it in and keep the ball low. Now, a lot of times, a quarterback will fire it in there chest high, and a defensive back will make a play. Not if you keep it low. Those DBs have to go through the receiver to make a play on the ball. There, Haynes makes a great reception.
Yeah, let's remind everyone, this is almost like the start of a new season for Fralick. This is his 1st game back off injured reserve. So 1st down from the 14. Plenty of time for Miller. And throwing it low and away for Andre Rison. Almost looked like he wanted to just, let's start over with 2nd and 10 from here. As we check the Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker, the Oilers score, tying things up at Cleveland. And the Oilers have already wrapped up the AFC Central Division title. What they're playing for now is the possibility of all their games at home throughout the playoffs. The edge right there goes to the Buffalo Bills, though. This is the 12th play of the drive coming up now. At the 14, it started back at the 23 of Atlanta. Minutes, 12 seconds left in the 1st half. Steve Broussard with a flag down to the play, just nudging it inside the 10 for 4.
And it looks like the Atlanta will be called for holding there. Yes.
Well, Steve Broussard's been very active in the early going. Before that, he had 5 carries for 22 yards. Get back to that in a second.
Holding, 79 on the offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the 2nd down.
Well, that's interesting. We've seen Fralick come back today after being on injured reserve for a while. They're moving him around to different sides. We'll see Bill on this replay. He's the right guard working on number 77, Jeff Bryant. Now, Bryant goes inside. Now, then you'll see Fralick more or less body slamming back to the outside. Now, that's something you'll see late night on WWF, the wrestling station out here out of Atlanta. But, you know, I just think that a lot of times players can put themselves in a hole. He didn't need to do that. All he had to do was screen Bryant, and he wouldn't have been called for the penalty.
2nd and 20 from the 24. Into the end zone, looking for Haynes, and poked away by the defensive back, Patrick Hunter. A little battle going on in the trenches in the early going for Bill Fralick in his return to the lineup.
Well, that was a great play by Hunter to go ahead and knock that ball away. But here we'll see Fralick working against Cortez. Now, Cortez takes him inside and then does his version of the head slap club. Now, see, folks, this is exactly why I'm excited about this guy. This is a player that has exceptional ability. We talked about Hunter making a great play on Haynes there. But now, those plays are great, but those plays up front, Cortez beating a double team and a Pro Bowler like Fralick, you don't see those quite so often.
They're 2 of 4 and 3rd down conversions. This is a 3rd and 20, though. And the little shovel pitch is an incomplete pass. In effect, looking for Steve Broussard. So Norm Johnson, the former Seahawk, will come onto the field trying to give Atlanta a 5-0 lead. Johnson cut when John Casey was taken to the 4th round. And when we talked to Norm yesterday, he said, I'm not bitter. I just didn't like the way things were handled. You take someone in the 4th round. Obviously, you have plans for them. Be open and honest about it. He didn't feel that the Seahawks were open and up front. After he had spent all those years there, 9 seasons, Seattle Seahawks all-time leading scorer. Has he ever been effective this year? He's hit 14 straight, 16 of 18 since arriving during week number 3. It's a 42-yard attempt, and make it 15 straight for Norm Johnson. So Glavin's not on the hill, but it's still a shutout at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium for the Falcons.
You gotta be kidding. What's in is out, what's out is in. So many trends make my poor head spin. Don't sell me good taste, I know I taste good. While the best thing's always so misunderstood. Just give me what the doctor ordered. Just what the doctor ordered. Just give me a Dr. Pepper, we want it. Whoa, just what the doctor ordered. The taste is made to order, we love it. Whoa, just what the doctor ordered.
The trucks. The trucks you can depend on. The trucks that last.
Attenzione, prego. Cos'è questa cosa qua?
It's the Canon Futura.
Sembra sospetto. Guarda reazione.
With futuristic flash and long-range power zoom lens. The Futura from Canon. So advanced, it's simple.
Citizen, 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 elegant citizen, citizen, elegance. His citizen, citizen, one citizen with lots of citizen, elegant, elegant, average, elegant citizen. We've got elegance.
On the 12 days of Christmas and they seem rocket to war. 12 crooks uncaptured, 11 clues uncovered, 10 suspects sneaking, 9 costume changes, 8 bugs are leaping, 7 walls are leaking, 6 fish are flapping, 5 ceiling fans, 4 windows smashed, 3 string your tie, 2 tons of fun in a holiday network premiere.
John Candy, who's Harry Crumb? NBC Tonight.
For so many years in a Seattle Seahawk uniform, and now a member of the Atlanta Falcons. In his 10th season, Norm Johnson just giving Atlanta a 5-0 lead. Told us yesterday Jerry Glanville has rekindled the flame. He's made the game exciting for him once again. It'll be brought back by Derek Lavelle from the 5. Good acceleration by Lavelle across the 25 out to the 28. Well, Dave Craig wasn't the starter today if you joined us a little bit late. On the second series of the afternoon for Kelly Stauffer, it was a blitz for the Falcons.
Well, Jordan goes ahead and turns the corner here, beating a block by Feasel, but the real killer for Stauffer was Rick Bryan, number 77, coming in and finishing him off. And it looks like he's going to have a problem with his right knee. We get reports that he had it x-rayed, and we won't be seeing Kelly Stauffer again.
So Dan McGuire is the emergency quarterback. He was one of the 2 inactives, along with Rufus Porter today, the #1 draft choice out of San Diego State. Could be used only in emergency situations. And then, of course, Craig cannot come back into the game. First down from the 28, John L. Williams. Flag on the plays. Williams holds for about 4 to the 32.
Well, more than likely, the center, Grant Feasel, will be called for tackling number 67, Mo Gardner, for the Falcons. I was watching on that play, and Mo Gardner is an undersized nose guard.
Holding 54 on the offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Well, that was Feasel, but the thing is, against a smaller, quicker player, a lot of times you'll be beaten, and you'll try to go ahead and get some kind of position. And manhandling there, Feasel was caught by just basically tackling him.
And you talk about Mo Gardner. He's the biggest surprise for Jerry Glanville so far this year, Dan.
Well, you'll see right here. Mo Gardner on the right of your screen, number 67. Feasel unable to get him hooked. Just goes in and tackles him, puts his offense back into another hole. That's 3 calls against the offensive line here in the first half.
First and 20 from the 18 now. Craig had to deliver it early, and James Jones wasn't expecting it. It never really turned around. As we head to New York and another update with Bob Costas.
All right, Joel, in Cleveland, Browns and Oilers tied at 7. Warren Moon with a 7-yard flip to Ernest Givens for the touchdown. 21st TD toss of the year for Moon. On the previous play, they sustained the drive by converting on 4th and 1. Tied at 7 in the second in chilly Cleveland.
Well, thank you, Bob. I guess we really got a break last week, Dan. In Cleveland, temperature by the lake just about 60 degrees. You had that early morning dip, and Now all of a sudden the temperature drops in Cleveland.
Very refreshing, I might add.
It's 2nd and 20 from the 18. Deep drop for Dave Craig. Good protection. Looking for Kane, and it's poked away. Tim McKyer there. They love to play man on man with the corners.
Well, actually, the reason the drop was that we saw the drop was because of Case, the safety, coming in, kamikaze, ready to tear the receiver's head off, and that's something that you really don't feel. You'll see a whole lot out of Kane. Kane is a guy who used to play hockey, and he's one of those tough guys. He like to go across the middle. Seattle has a couple of receivers. They have a lot of confidence inside there, but you can see that a little bit of a lack in the concentration there.
Tim McKyer with the 49ers picked up a couple of Super Bowl rings with Miami last year, and it brings up a 3rd and 20 from the 18. Short one to Blades, and they only get a couple of yards on the reception when they needed 20. So another punting situation for Seattle. And Rick Tootin. So the Falcons defense dominating so far with 11:28 and counting left in the first 30 minutes of play. A 5-0 Seahawks or Atlanta lead.
Well, that's the thing Atlanta wants to do each and every week. They say, hey, we're going to put our corners out there, take those receivers away from your game plan, and make you either run or throw it to someone else. So far, they've had great success at it.
You know, we haven't seen the flap yet. They've got the tomahawk chop for the Braves. We were told when we came to the town this weekend, look for the Falcon flap. Tootin wobbles it out to Deion Sanders, calls for the fair catch and has it. In outstanding field position once again for the Falcons is when we come back, they'll start with the ball at their own 38.
It's wintertime at your Chevy Geo dealer. A great time to get big deals on Chevrolets.
$1,000 cash back.
Hey, that's worth more than my baseball card. During wintertime, you can get cash back or low wintertime financing with no payments for 90 days on Chevy. With deals like these, anybody can be a winner.
Dad, it's Bob Euchre.
Hey, kid, you want an autograph?
No, thanks.
Are you kidding? Sure you can have two. Great kid. See your Chevy Geo dealer today.
Wouldn't it be great if there was a country club just for regular guys and a few things were changed, like monster carts allowed on course, water hazards shall no longer be hazardous, spikes encouraged in the clubhouse, only really great premium beer served, like cold filtered Keystone and Keystone Light, bottle beer taste in a can.
Hey, I'm in the sand again. All right.
Nice shot.
Thanks. Wouldn't that be great?
I think the customers definitely sense the difference, not only in the company, but in us.
There is a definite pride in what we do and how we do it.
I mean, the employees own the company. You are Avis. I'm Avis. If you've seen our roving rapid return now, you'll see that you don't even have to step out of the car before you're already checked in.
If you don't like the color of the car, if I have a different color car, I'll fix it.
We call over 1,500 customers a month just to see if they're satisfied.
There's a big sense of pride in owning a company.
So why rent from anyone but an owner?
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America. The cars more people depend on. By cold-filtered Keystone and Keystone Light. Bottled beer taste in a can. Wouldn't that be great? By Bugle Boy Company, because any closet without Bugle Boy is an empty closet. And by the card, the American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
Sunny day in Atlanta, but a very cool one. Game time temperature in the mid-40s. It's really been a tale of two seasons for the Atlanta Falcons. They were out of the box 0-2, then 3-4 over their first 7, but 6-1 over their last 7. What a time to gain that momentum. The stretch drive, one of the hottest teams with a 4-game winning streak coming in today for Jerry Glanville. Now they've got it with a 5-point lead at their own 38. Delay for Broussard. Breaks the tackle of Joe Nash. Did a good job just to get close to 3 yards on that run. Well, Dan, the left tackle, you know well, Mike Ken in his 14th year out of Michigan, and many thought after the knee injury that Ken suffered last year that would be the end of his career, but he's had a sensational season.
Almost like Freddie Krueger. I mean, he keeps coming back and coming back, and this is his 13th year, and talking with Mike yesterday, I could see he still had an awful lot of fire in his eye, and watching the films, He's moving his feet as well as he did some 10 years ago. Now, that's an amazing thing for a player to be 35 years old and still be as effective as he was when he was 25.
Second, just about 8. Broussard again. Good blocking up front, and a first down for the Falcons. At 5'7", he can cut like a Barry Sanders.
Well, we talked about Broussard and the physical gifts he has, but here it's great blocking. You'll see the left guard working upfield, almost pancaking there. Ken doing a great job of just screening off Kane, the outside linebacker. But that's the thing about Mike Ken. Everyone says, you know, he's getting old. He's not the same. Well, I don't see that. He's doing the same things he did that made him so successful back in the middle 80s when he went to 5 straight Pro Bowls. He's shielding people. He's using that great length of his arms. He gets those hands on you every down.
First down. Seattle 49 for the Falcons, on top by 5. Out of the shotgun. And intercepted. Picked off by Robert Blackman, the strong safety. The Falcons arguing that he did not get 2 feet in bounds.
For 91, Jim Scow got a little pressure, and that's something that Miller has not had an awful lot of so far today. A little pressure creates this turnover, and you'll see that he's able to get 1,
but not 2.
Just barely out with the other foot. That's a good call by the officials.
So it still belongs to Atlanta. And we remind you, at the conclusion of today's game, we'll be presenting the Avis We Try Harder Award. It'll be given to the game's MVP.
Well, that's something that Miller has shown an awful lot of here this last half of the year. And, you know, obviously they won 4 in a row. And I think one of the big reasons is Chris Miller has grown up. He's become more patient. He's taking what the defense gives him rather than trying to go for the home run or trying to create something. So we'll have to watch and see if Miller is still going to be patient today. He's missed his last 6 attempts. That's when your patience is tried.
2nd and 10 from the 49. Broussard. And the defensive back had him around the ankles. The first one in there was Patrick Hunter.
You know, the Falcons' running game basically is predicated on being able to throw the ball and keep those safeties off the line of scrimmage, keep those linebackers back. Until they can throw the ball, they're not going to be able to go ahead and just pound it away at the Seattle front.
This Atlanta ground game, only 16th in the NFL. Their passing attack ranked 8th with Chris Miller. But their offense has really come alive over the last 7. They have averaged 28 points a game and 33 a game over the last 4 during the winning streak. But now they face a 3rd and long, 3rd and 8. Pocket holding up, and it's a completion for Pritchard, the rookie from Colorado. Well, so much talk about the trade when Jeff George went to Indianapolis, and we'll get to that after we look at Mike Pritchard's reception.
Well, we talked about Miller being patient. Here he's going to throw the ball up underneath the coverage on a crossing pattern to Pritchard. We talked about Haynes and Rising get an awful lot of ink, but these other guys are very, very dangerous, and you've got to make sure you clamp on them quick.
And Mike Pritchard, Dan, is a product of that Jeff George deal because they acquired a #1 draft choice, and it turned out to be Pritchard, who's the 13th overall selection.
And, of course, they got the great Chris Hinton, the right tackle, out of that same deal.
7 minutes, 45 seconds left in the first half. Falcons driving once again. Broussard. He's been the workaholic in the early going. He gets 3 down to the 30. That is his 9th carry of the day for a total of 41 yards. And an opportunity to check in once again on the 10-minute ticker as Bill Belichick and the Browns regain the lead over the Oilers.
In that Philadelphia-Dallas games, it looks like, of course, that Philly has been trapped for a safety. They still have an awful lot of offensive problems.
An injured Falcon is down. That is Steve Broussard, the running back. Looked like he may have turned an ankle. We'll give you an update when we return to Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium with the Falcons leading by 5.
Good. Now I can go to bed.
Wait a minute. I want to give you a gift while we're alone. Something just for you.
A washer and dryer?
Come on, will you be serious?
Okay.
Close your eyes. Come on. Merry Christmas.
This Christmas, give her the gift of love. Diamonds.
The trucks you can depend on, the trucks that last. Now it's easier to own a Chevy truck.
Water. The RCA Home Theater has a VHP picture tube which makes it seem like you're really there. And you can connect your Laserdisc, stereo, VCR, or camcorder to it without being a rocket scientist. And with the RCA Home Theater, you can get rid of your other remotes, too, because it comes with Master Touch, the universal remote. Another way RCA is changing entertainment again.
Now at Little Caesars, Cheeser Cheeser. 2 pizzas with extra cheese, up to 4 toppings, and free crazy bread for $8.98.
Teaser, teaser.
Another look, Dan, at that ankle injury to Steve Broussard.
Well, Broussard just gets a little bad break here. One of the Hawks fell across his left ankle and flexed it out of shape there. Looks like he'll be out for a little bit.
2nd and 7. The ball at the Seattle 30. Eric Pegram, who came in for Broussard. It's close to 4, down to the 26. So it'll bring up a 3rd and short as Cortez Kennedy was the first one in on the hit.
Well, you don't like to see a player get hurt, but it's so much better to have maybe a little ankle twist and maybe a knee injury like what Stauffer had earlier. You know, as a player, those ankles are nothing. It's like having a flat tire. But when you hurt your knee, it's like having your car repossessed. So it's a bad break for Broussard and the Falcons, but he looks like he'll be okay.
Now, wait a minute. A flat tire?
It's not that big a deal.
What about your knees? Retreads by this time now?
Recaps.
3rd and a short 4. Plenty of time for Miller. He can scramble for first down. He leads all NFL quarterbacks in average yards per rush, and he's got the first down. He's quick. He picks his spots very well.
Well, like I said, that shows great patience. There was no one open. Just go ahead and run for the first down. Don't be worried about making a completion. Don't worry and think that you've got to do everything with your arm. Use your feet. Use your head. Looks like he was trying to get the ball to Andre Rison. We'll check Rison out here. Rison trying to run the streak, then turns and comes back. Unable. Then he slips down, unable to get back and get into the play.
First down from the 18. Pegram, the only one in the backfield as Pritchard goes in motion. Back in time, and it's batted right back at Chris Miller.
Big Tony Woods, the right end, working on Mike Ken. Ken had him stalemated at the line of scrimmage. Woods just jumps inside, going ahead, knocking the ball down.
Let's not forget that Chris Miller, Dan, is only 26 years old in his 5th year out of the University of Oregon.
Well, if you're Chris Miller, you're looking downfield, you're trying to get to those receivers, and then Cortez being double, it was actually Cortez Kennedy, the right tackle, getting his hands up, and that's smart by Cortez. Hey, if they're going to put 2 guys on you, kind of draw those double-team blocks, stay in front of the quarterback, and get your hands up when he throws.
Not a bad vertical for a guy that goes a little over 300.
Yeah, I think we could almost gotten the Atlanta directory under his feet on that jump.
Pegram. Nifty moves inside the 15 down to the 13. The only problem was that recorded on the seismologist's Richter scale when Cortez Kennedy came down at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. But back to that other point about Chris Miller, 26 years old. You look at his top 2 wideouts, Rison and Haynes, both 25 or less. Only going to get better for the Atlanta Falcons.
Hey, you talk about everyone on this Atlanta offense being young. I mean, except maybe a couple of the guys up front in the line. I think this offense is just scratching the surface. They are only going to get better, and this is the main guy right here. If he uses his patience, this offense could be very, very scary.
It's 3rd and 5 now from the 13. They've been a very efficient group on 3rd down so far today, leading by 5. Can they capitalize deep in Seattle territory? Miller for Haynes. He's got the first down inside the 5.
In this certain set, Atlanta will go with 3 receivers to the left and only Haynes on the right. Now, what that does is say, hey, we know we're going to put our fastest guy over there by himself. Now, if you're going to double, we can throw it the other way. But here Miller does a little half roll. Haynes runs the streak, runs off the corner, and then comes back on an out pattern. Now that is just being smart, and more than that, I think that what you're seeing is this offense doing all the little things right. The receivers are running precise patterns. The quarterback's taking the right steps, the right footwork, and he's throwing the ball where he has to throw it.
First and goal from the 4. Pegram behind Miller. Pritchard in motion once again. And Miller will throw for it. Touchdown Atlanta! George Thomas! His 22nd touchdown pass of the season.
Once again, great protection. The guys up front are getting the Seahawk pass rush nullified. Miller able to see the complete field, fires it in there. The safety unable to get over and give him a hand. Eugene was more or less pulled to that left side.
Norm Johnson splits the uprights. It's been a one-way affair so far. And the Falcons finally get their first touchdown. It's a 12-0 Atlanta lead.
Because you believe these trunks shouldn't carry a spare tire.
It's a right beer now.
Because up here, crisp-tasting beer just comes naturally.
It's a right beer now.
Because when the whole gang gets together, there's no room for filling up. So reach for the Silver Bullet, the beer that won't weigh you down.
It's a right beer now.
The American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
Getting to know you.
Everybody's different. Different looks, different tastes, different lifestyles. That's why Geo offers you a choice. Geo Metro, Geo Storm, Geo Prism, and Geo Tracker. So pick your favorite and get to know Geo. Right around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
Getting to know you.
Darling, after 10 years, the only thing I'd change about you is your clothes.
Bugle boy.
Why don't you try this one on first?
The Falcons finally get their first touchdown of the afternoon and lead it 12-0 over the Seattle Seahawks. And welcome back to Fulton County Stadium. Joel Myers along with Dan Hampton. The joint is jumping, as they say. They are in love with their Falcons. Now, what a year it's been for this city. The Braves, the Falcons, and gaining the Olympic Games in 1996 as Norm Johnson kicks it away. Lavelle back deep with Chris Warren. And the short one's going to be taken by Warren from the 10. Tackling. They all fly around the ball, especially on the special teams. And it's to the 29-yard line. Well, we saw the tomahawk chop so often during the Braves National League pennant season. And this is the last game that the Atlanta Falcons are going to be playing here at Fulton County Stadium. Next year it's the Georgia Dome. There, finally, the Falcon flap, replacing the chop, at least for the time being. Well, the flap is going to move down the road a little bit. That's the new Georgia Dome. Just about complete. As you can see, they're starting to put the roof on. That'll be the new home of the Atlanta Falcons next year. First down. Craig in the offense from the 29. James Jones with 85 yards on the ground last week, going nowhere on that carry.
Well, once again, we talked about how that team speed and that attitude on defense creates a great situation. Here you see 4 or 5 helmets around the ball carrier on a pitch. Usually on a play like this, you expect 1 or 2 guys to make it. Let's count how many black shirts out here at the ball. I see about 6, 7 guys out there. Now, you're not going to make very many yards against a defense that flies around like that.
It's a loss of a couple. Back to the 27. 2nd and 12. Clock rolling. Under 4 minutes left in the first half. Craig finds McNeil, the tight end, stretching out to the 34. And he gets 7 on that reception. As we look at the Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker. A field goal for the Oilers. They closed within 4. Philadelphia has now taken the lead over Dallas as Green Bay with an advantage again on Detroit. The Jets trying to keep their wild card chances alive. Only one spot left in the AFC. Go to most likely either the New York Jets or the Miami Dolphins. And of course, that's the big game on NBC next Sunday afternoon. Don't forget. Falcons will make it the Seahawks 0-4 on third down conversions. And thrown over the wide receiver who fell down. That was number 84, Lewis Clark, who was the intended target. Tough day for Craig and the Seahawks. Craig did not get the start. It was Kelly Stauffer, and he was gone, if you joined us late, with an injury to his knee after the second series.
Well, on that play there, Craig tried to go with a side adjust by Clark. They brought 6 guys on a blitz. Here, Clark on the jam, trips up and falls down. But Craig did a good job in reading it and a side adjusting. It was just Clark falling to keeping that play from working.
Shooting, punting away once again to Deion Sanders. Short wobbler. Sanders will stay away from it, and it hits the helmet of James Jones. It'll come back to the point where it hit the Seahawks. Jones. I don't know if he wanted to use his head in that case.
Well, that's not using your head wisely. If anything, you wanted to hit Deion's helmet if you're a Seattle fan. But Deion doing the smart thing, just getting away from it. Jones, unaware where the ball is. Unable to get away from the ball. That's pretty much been the way it's went for the Seahawks so far here this afternoon. It's just one thing after another. They just haven't done anything right.
And coming up at the half, the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report with Bob Costas and O.J. Simpson. And Joe Namath is going to have a special report on Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins. This second half of the season that they have put together. As they match up with San Diego a little bit later today on NBC. So the Falcons, outside of their own 30, at the 31, have it first down, leading by 12. Middle with time, overthrowing Pritchard. And Pritchard had found a seam in that zone.
Well, that's one thing these receivers are very, very good at, and that is being nifty. Getting underneath zones, getting behind zones, splitting a too-deep zone. That's what they make their living on. They like to stretch a defense, and they put an awful lot of pressure on those defensive corners and safeties. Miller able to chip away underneath and lull the defense to sleep, then all of a sudden you get a Pritchard or a Haynes hitting a seam going for a big ball.
2 minutes, 41 seconds left of the first half. Falcons looking at a 2nd and 10 from the 31. Pegram. Not disguised all that well, Dan, by Chris Miller. Out to the 34, a gain of 3.
No, I think a quarterback is probably as important as anyone on a draw play. The quarterback has to really sell the defense, and especially the safeties and linebackers, that he's going back to pass there. Miller really pretty ineffective in trying to sell that draw play, and Seattle reacted greatly to it.
He's upset with himself. You can tell us we head to the 2-minute warning. He gave it away early on the draw play. It netted only 3. And we have now reached the 2-minute warning at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, and it has been all Atlanta.
Citizen, 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 elegant citizen, citizen, elegance. Oh, his citizen, one citizen with lots of citizen, elegant, elegant, perfectly elegant citizen. We've got elegance.
From the lighting of the torch till the champions depart, every nation's best in the greatest test of skill and strength and heart.
For the first time in the history of the Olympics, you can catch every punch, every dash, and every glorious finish. Because now, in addition to NBC coverage, you've got the power to choose between different Olympic events on 3 cable channels. Call 1-800-OLYMPIC for the Olympics triple cast of the '92 Summer Games. Go from track and field to basketball to diving when you want. Catch every moment. Call today for more information on the Olympics triple cast.
Catch the fire behind the flame. Catch the fire behind the flame.
What do you smell?
I can't smell anything. My nose is clogged, man.
For fast relief, try Dristan 12-hour nasal spray. Now smell.
It's an orange. Dristan nasal spray just works incredibly fast.
Dristan, the face of relief today.
New Year's Day, Ohio State takes on Syracuse in the Hall of Fame Bowl. Then number 6 Penn State battles 10th-ranked Tennessee in the Fiesta Bowl. And it's a primetime showdown that will determine the national championship as number 1 Miami battles Big 8 champion Nebraska at the Federal Express Orange Bowl. New Year's Day on NBC.
Be sure to be with NBC Sports. Great bowl games on New Year's Day, all starting with the Hall of Fame Bowl. From the Big East and the Big Ten, Syracuse, Ohio State, then Penn State matching up with Tennessee in the Fiesta Bowl. And it's all capped by the showdown for the national championship. The number 1 Miami Hurricanes against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And now a 3rd and long. 3rd and just about 7. A short 7 for Miller out of the shotgun. He's got time. Can he pick it up on the scramble? Across the 40, where do they put him down? He's got enough for the first down.
We talked about how Miller is able to use his head, not throw it, and use his feet to get out of trouble. Here Seattle had their safeties walk up, then walk back. Miller unable to make a clear decision on who to go to, decides to run for it.
All 3 timeouts remaining for both teams. Miller going with a hurry up, on top by 12. And off the hands of Mike Pritchard. And he had plenty of room to work with if he could have taken it in. So that'll stop the clock with 1:26 left in the first half. Jerry Glanville has really molded a young team, a young offense in particular. A team that has not had a winning season since 1982. They are assured of at least that, a winning season. And he's also taught them how to win the close games, Dan. They are 6-2 this year in games decided by a touchdown or less. Last year, 2-7 in similar games.
Well, and that's something you've got to instill in these guys. I mean, there's only 2 players on this team that have been there when they've won. You've got to reorient them into how to win and that type of attitude.
Those 2 players, Mike Ken and Bobby Butler, as Miller has it batted down by Jeff Bryant. He wanted Andre Rison coming across.
Well, we've seen a couple of batted balls. Other than that, we haven't seen an awful lot of pressure on the quarterback, Chris Miller. And one reason is Rufus Porter, the fine outside rusher for the Seahawks, is out today with a bad shoulder. But we really haven't seen an awful lot of pressure from that defensive front. And I thought that was probably going to be one of the major keys we had to watch today. But so far, they've been able to make some things happen, but they need to get more pressure on Miller if they want to go ahead and stop this Atlanta offense.
3rd and 10 now for the Falcons. And they keep the drive going with 1:22 left in the first half. Miller with ideas of running. He won't get to the marker. Comes up about 3 yards short at the 49 of Seattle. Now, does Glanville take a chance or play it safe on top by 12?
I don't think there's any doubt in what Glanville's going to do. They're going to try for it. I'm almost positive of it. That's just his personality. If there was an NFL franchise in Vegas, this guy would be the one I'd want coaching it. Yeah, he's a gambler.
You could have played for Jerry, couldn't you?
Oh, like I said, I played for him in the Pro Bowl one year, and we had a hoot. And I think that the players feed off of that. If you really are backed by a coach and he sells out and does some things that make you feel like he's in your corner, then you just play harder for him.
Now they're letting the clock roll inside of 40 seconds. Seahawks have not elected to stop it either.
No, it looks like he will go ahead and try to punt it away, and that's kind of a surprise to me. I thought for sure this guy would have rolled the dice today.
Falcons, of course, controlling their own destiny. They win today, and then they win their final game on the final Sunday of the season against the Cowboys at Dallas. And they are the champions of the NFC Western Division for the first time since 1980 when they went 12-4. Chris Warren will wait for the punt from Scott Fulhage.
Hey,
he's back at the 15. And Rusty Tillman's group going after the block. They do not get it, and it'll roll inside the 15. Outstanding punt by Fulhage all the way to the 10-yard line. So 12 seconds remain in the first half. When we come back, the Seahawks have it down by 12.
Young man, where do you think you're going?
Me?
Yeah, well, you hit me.
No, you hit me.
Well, hey, it's Christmas.
Oh, good. Hey, look, I don't care if you're Santa Claus. Look at my fender.
I curve at about 90 miles
Look
an
at it.
hour.
No, there's not a scratch in your car. Look at my fender. Oh, man, I just bought this car.
Updating the Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker. As Seattle will take one snap, and that'll be the conclusion of the first half at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium. Dan, a little bit surprised. They could have stopped the clock. Seattle with 45 seconds left, trailing by 12, but they just wanted to head to the halftime locker room.
Well, that's apparently what Chuck Knox saying. Hey, let's go in there, try to regroup, and see if we can get something going in the second half. Against this defense, you're not going to bust a big play. They're too active, they're too fast.
Well, a one-sided affair so far. All Atlanta on both sides of the line. It could be worse for Seattle. They are trailing by 12 after the first 30 minutes of play. We'll be right back with the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report after a word from the NFL and a message from your local station.
The National Football League salutes teachers across the nation through its Teacher of the Month award.
In my class, if you learn anything, it's that you must stay in school. Each of you holds a key to success in your own hands. Knowledge belongs to any of us and all of us.
I'll never forget those school days. I wasn't sure of myself, but she made learning an exciting adventure. She took the time to help me. She made me work hard, but she listened. She understood. She cared. She was more than a great teacher. She was my friend.
You'll learn that in life, you can go anywhere. You can do anything you set your mind to.
The National Football League Teacher of the Month award goes to Janie Lucas Phillips of Weaver High School in Hartford, Connecticut, who was nominated by her former student Eugene Robinson of the Seattle Seahawks. The NFL's Teachers Award program recognizes and encourages quality education for all our children. This message furnished by the National Football League.
NBC rocks with Network TV's only show of live music in prime time. Starring Travis Tritt, Tanya Tucker, Charlie Daniels, Shelby Lynn, and Marty Stewart. I'm tempted. It's Hot Country Nights, and it's at 8, 7 Central, NBC tonight.
You take me back to that feeling.
For sure starting power every time, no matter what the weather, use CarQuest batteries in your car or truck. Quality CarQuest batteries perform each and every time and can only be found at CarQuest Auto Parts stores. Stop by your local CarQuest Auto Parts store today and pick up a CarQuest battery. It won't let you down.
And CarQuest keeps us rolling down the road.
You no longer have to be tied to a phone line thanks to the most advanced cellular technology available today. Plant Telecommunications. Now you can make calls from virtually anywhere, receive calls from virtually anywhere, and a cellular phone from Plant Telecommunications makes the ultimate Christmas gift. The future is here at Plant Telecommunications.
The legendary Miss Katharine Hepburn, next Donahue.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live Halftime Report. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Nobody knows like Domino's how you like pizza at home.
Okay, we welcome viewers from two parts of the country. Some of you watching Atlanta with the 12-0 halftime lead over Seattle as the Falcons draw a bead on the playoffs, and others watching the game from the Meadowlands where the Jets could manage no more than a 3-all halftime tie with the Patriots, unable to cash in inside the 20.
Well, the Patriots are very tough inside the 20. Bob, a year ago, they were about the worst in the league. I think they gave up 29 rushing touchdowns, the worst. This year, I think it's less than 5. They're one of the best. So to me, if I'm Bruce Coslet, I say when we get close, we got to try to throw the ball into the end zone. We got to gamble here in the second half.
That's one thing if you can't get into the end zone. But when you're missing 27 and 23-yard field goals, then you're grinding your teeth if you're Bruce Coslet.
That's right. Yeah, I think the biggest problem they got to I think they got to try to throw to the end zone before they get to the red zone. As we know all year long, this New England team has played tough defense under Joe Collier, and I expect this game to go right down to the wire. And one thing for New England, they played these games all year long. They've blown a few, and they've been able to win a few, so I would say that that would bode better for New England than the Jets at this point.
All right, another game with playoff implications in Cleveland. Browns making making things tough on the Oilers, 14-10. Late in the second quarter, Cleveland, by some weird scenarios, could get a wild card, very unlikely. Houston, already the champions of the AFC Central, but Warren Moon would like a victory here, give them a possibility of a first-round bye and maybe home field advantage in their first playoff game. Leroy Horde gathers this one in from Bernie Kosar, and it's 7-0 in favor of the Browns. But Moon comes back after they converted on a 4th and 1 to keep the drive alive. Ernest Givens stutter steps into the end zone, ties it up at 7. But then Kosar will strike again at the other end of the field. This 8-yarder to Brian Brennan will make it 14-7 Cleveland. Al Del Greco nails a 27-yard field goal, and as they approach halftime, less than a minute to play before intermission, Cleveland has the lead at 14-10. Dallas and Philadelphia each with wild card possibilities. The Eagles looking to win their 7th in a row. What a job Rich Kotite has done with the injuries to Randall Cunningham and Jim McMahon. The Eagles have the lead over the Cowboys 10-5 late second quarter at the Vet. The Eagles have won their last 8 meetings against the Cowpokes. Well, Kelly Stauffer started at quarterback today for the Seattle Seahawks. Perhaps a surprising move by Chuck Knotts, but he wasn't in there very long. He threw an interception to Deion Sanders early. That ceremony was to mark the last regular season game, by the way, at Fulton County Stadium. They move into a new place next year. Sanders with the interception that I mentioned. Then he laterals it back to Tim McKyer. And the always emotional Sanders will be seen shortly in jubilation. There it is. That's the sort of thing that endears him to opponents. Now here's Stauffer out of the shotgun, and he's about to be shot down. The safety will be credited to Brian Jordan. Rick Bryan comes in, however, and really delivers a telling blow. He sprains his right knee, out of the game. In comes Dave Craig, who was their starter prior to this time anyway, and Craig is quarterbacking now. Atlanta's Chris Miller with the bullet to George Thomas for the 4-yard touchdown. So you figure in a Norm Johnson field goal against his old Seattle mates and the safety in that touchdown. 12-0 Falcons. They win this. Saints lose tomorrow night against the Raiders. Falcons have clinched the NFC West. Detroit and Green Bay. This game should be called by Ray Scott. At Lambeau Field, the temperature is 10, the wind chill is -15, and the Packers are leading the Lions, who have not won an outdoors game all year, 10-7 late in the second quarter. The game some of you folks are watching is even up at 3, the Jets and New England halftime at the Meadowlands. Meaningless ball game. Well, I guess Minnesota technically has a shot at a wild card, but virtually meaningless, and 2 long-term coaches pretty much coaching out the string. Jerry Burns for the Vikings and John Robinson for the Rams. 10-0 halftime at the Metrodome. In Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, Bubby Brister having a good first half, threw a 47-yard touchdown pass to Adrian Cooper, and Pittsburgh at 5-9, leading the 2-12 Bengals just before halftime, 10-7. Later today on NBC, it's the Miami Dolphins and the San Diego Chargers. Important game for the Dolphins' playoff hopes. Joe Namath has a preview for us when we come back after this.
Friday, what's happening after Matlock is a crime.
It's not crime, it's urban unrest.
Call it whatever you want. Pacific Station cops will handle it.
Why do I find that so very disturbing?
Robert Guillaume and his squad are back in a solid half hour of entertainment.
What, is the department putting on Showboat again this year?
Pacific Station, NBC Friday. Ho, ho, ho! Look what Santa's little helpers at Honda Yamaha of Albany have for you. Get a Honda Z50 for no money down at Honda Yamaha of Albany.
On the next Golden Girls.
I'm crazy about him.
You've been hit by the thunderbolt. It happened to me once.
Once, you've been hit by more lightning in the World Trade Center.
But there's a catch. I'm married. And everyone has advice.
Hang up on that bed hopper. That man cares for you. Hop, hop.
On the next Golden Girls. Monday at 5:30 on WALB.
On the next Oprah, when Dad leaves Mom for the housekeeper.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live Halftime Report. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Nobody knows like Domino's how you like pizza at home.
Okay, 1 wild card slot up for grabs still in the AFC. Looks like the Dolphins have the inside track with a game today against San Diego, then a home game that could decide it next week against the Jets. There was a time only a short while ago when the Dolphins were in deep trouble, but they've turned things around, and Joe Namath has the explanation.
1990 was definitely an up year for the Dolphins. They went 12-4 and beat the Chiefs in the playoffs with a dramatic comeback. In spite of their subsequent loss to Buffalo, Miami looked to be a team to reckon with this year. But instead, 1991 began on a down. Holdouts took a heavy toll, especially on the offensive line, which began the year missing 3 starters. And when they blew an apparent victory versus Houston on the Sammy Smith fumble, both he and the Dolphins had to take the heat.
How can that happen 2 weeks in a row? This cost them the ball game.
Halfway through the season, the Dolphins were 3-5, having just suffered a devastating loss at the hands of the Houston Oilers. Well, who would have given these Dolphins a chance of making the playoffs? Guess what, folks? They've won 5 of the last 6 games, and the playoff possibilities are almost a reality.
I'm an optimist, and I always think that things are going to get better. And we went through some tough times, and we were 3-5, and our 5 losses, you know, there were 3 of those games that we could have won. But we went into the second half of the season with the hope of starting a new season, starting fresh, and we had that bye week right in the middle of the season, and that gave us a little bit of time to regroup, and things got better.
Dan, halfway through the season, you were 3-5, and you had a break, and we're playing around the golf. You told me that you could win 7 out of 8 games, maybe go 7-1 and make the playoffs. What made you feel so strongly?
I think it was the fact that we played pretty decent football, but some bad things were happening to us early on. You know, we went 3-5, and we should have won 2 of those games. And you know, you have to figure that it's going to change around somehow. And I think the whole team had a better attitude going into the second half of the season and just taking it one game at a time.
I think that Chicago game was a very pivotal game for us because it showed, one, that we could play with per se a smash mouth football team, and they really got our motors really running, and we really are geared toward to really going forward and up.
In spite of his team's recent success, Don Shula's been around the NFL too long to get excited just yet.
As you know, Joe, you don't judge it halfway through or 3/4 of the way through. You wait till all the results are in, and then you make your decisions and judgments as to what you feel that you've accomplished or haven't accomplished. But now things are a little bit better, and if we can continue and do well and get into the playoffs and hopefully do something in the playoffs, then it could be a successful season.
All right, so they've won 5 of 6. How good are these Dolphins?
I think they're a team that's playing very well because of their schedule. They've beaten all teams that get losing records, Bob. In fact, I think the Chargers are going to beat them today because the Chargers have played a tougher schedule and lost a lot of tough games. But I think they'll beat Miami today.
These writers are all alike. They're so skeptical. This team, they should have beaten Houston. They beat Chicago in Chicago. I'm a firm believer it's the teams that are hot at the end of the season that you got to really watch, like the 49ers and like Philadelphia. And Miami is a hot team, and if they get to the playoffs and look like they're going to, they could be pretty tough.
So you're saying they're going to win today, right?
Yes, I am.
Well, that's why I like San Diego.
And I'm saying NFL Live halftime activities will, like it or not, continue.
Welcome back once again to Atlanta, where the Falcons have a 12-0 lead over the Seattle Seahawks. The big story, Dan, the injury to Kelly Stauffer very early on the second series.
Well, Kelly Stauffer was injured on this play. His right knee on a blitz here by Jordan gets him down. Rick Bryan finishes him off, and it looks like all the air went completely out of the Seahawk offense. And, you know, it just seems like the game plan they brought in here went out the window with Stauffer.
And now the only touchdown of the first half.
Well, I don't think that the Seattle defense is phoning it in, but so far that Seahawk offense has done absolutely nothing. They've had 2 first downs. That was on the first drive of the game. Since then, we really haven't seen anything.
Well, it's almost hard to believe when you watch a Chuck Knox team that they didn't adjust quite so well in the second quarter. Less than 40 yards of total offense for Seattle.
Well, you know, you think with a guy like David Craig coming in off the bench when Stauffer was hurt that he would be able to generate something. Up till now, that Atlanta pressure defense, blitzing, taking the wide receivers out of the game, has put them all basically up on blocks.
The Keystone first half numbers, you can see 37 yards of offense for the Seahawks, 23 of those on the ground.
And look at the time of possession, almost 2-1, and that's what a winning football team does. And you can see how these teams are going in opposite directions. Atlanta winning 4 in a row. Seattle is basically just playing out the string now.
And looking into the first half possessions, and the field position, a big difference, too, as you look at these first half possessions, as the Falcons finally got it going on their third with a field goal, then put it all together with that long drive from their own 38.
Well, you create your own field position by playing good defense and having good special teams, and so far, that's exactly what we've seen out of Atlanta.
And you can look now at the Seattle possession, starting back at their own 13, then the safety, the sack of Kelly Stauffer that knocked them out of the game. That drive back at their own 4, then back at their own 11 once again. Their best field position on a drive at their own 29. And the Falcons will start with the ball in the second half as Deion Sanders will bring it back from the 15. And good coverage by Rusty Tillman, the special teams coach group. They got down in a hurry as Atlanta has it by 12, their first series of the second half at the 24.
Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler bring you this NFL Game of the Month. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered.
The site, Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, and Chris Miller has to be somewhat disappointed that they're only up by 12 because they did enjoy that great field position.
Well, I just don't think that the Seattle defense has given them a chance to score as much as they'd like. The Seattle defense is playing pretty well. The offense is the one that has an awful lot of problems so far.
Miller with time, in and out of the hands of Mike Pritchard. He dropped a couple in the first half. Now, you talk about the Seattle defense getting the job done in the first half for the most part, especially when you consider the field position Atlanta had to start each drive. Now, it was 2 weeks ago, Jacob Green, not pointing fingers, but making comments in the locker room after the game. We've all got to do our jobs, and it works on both sides of the line, and right now, one side of the line's not getting it done. And then it was Cortez Kennedy a little bit last week after the game.
Well, I think this defense has become frustrated. They know that for the most part, they've done their job this year. But on offense, due to some injuries at quarterback and some other problems with running the ball, Seattle just hadn't got it done. And you can see that it's caused Chuck Knox an awful lot of pain this year.
2nd and 10 from the 24. Miller loses it. Seattle's diving. I believe the Seahawks have it. Yes, Seattle gets their first break of the game.
Well, once again, you see how the Seahawks, I mean, we talked about how I didn't feel like the Seahawks would phone it in. Well, it looks like that Seahawk bunch is still active, trying to make something happen out there.
Jerry Wooden with a fumble recovery after Miller pulled away from his center, possibly a little bit early.
That's exactly what it looks like, and the reason he probably pulled it away early, or they had a bad exchange, was the center Dukes had to line up and play and try to get a block on Cortez Kennedy. Now that's going to get your attention pretty quick when you have to block Kennedy.
Now finally, they start with it. Exceptional field position. The Seahawks have it at the Falcons 23. John L. Williams with a burst to the 20. Put down in a hurry. He gets 3 on the carry.
Well, they'd only had 23 yards rushing in the first half, and I think that's something that they have to do. Now, we talked about how this Atlanta defense, undersized but very quick. They try to move around, do a lot of things with schemes. I think the Seattle offense ought to make up its mind and say, hey, we're going to run right at you, do some zone blocking, but basically just come off, create a surge, and let those good backs like Williams hit a hole and make some yards.
2nd and 7 from the 20. Again, gets to the outside and gets to the 16-yard line where he comes up 3 yards short of the first down. Well, Tim Green, in talking to the down lineman for the Atlanta Falcons, said that Jerry Glanville has preached all week long. And Jerry Glanville, one of the biggest admirers of Chuck Knox, that you better stop the run first. You have to stop the run against a Chuck Knox team.
Well, that's the thing about Seattle. If their offense is able to run the ball, then pretty much they control their game plan. But if you can stop the run, make Craig have to go back and throw the ball 40, 45 times a game, more than likely you will have a great chance of beating them.
3rd and 3. Key play early in the second half for the Seahawks, and Craig gets it away and in and out of the hands of Tommy Caines. Defending on the play, Scott Case, the free safety.
Well, we'll take a look at this. Looks like Darian Connor, number 56, coming from the right, has some good pressure. Craig had to try to force it in there, but Case had great coverage. But Kane possibly could have caught that ball, Joel.
And now John Casey tries to get the first points of the day. The rookie who grew up not far from here in Athens, Georgia, played for the Bulldogs. He is 22 of 27 so far this season. And from 34 yards away, he pushes it wide to the left. So the shutout is still intact, and Seattle does not capitalize after starting with the ball at the Atlanta 23.
They're right. New Diet Dr. Pepper does taste more like regular Dr. Pepper.
So let's have another.
New Diet Dr. Pepper. There's no stopping the taste.
This is our vision of what a luxury sedan should be. Not because it offers rich leather and anti-lock brakes, but because it comes standard with an airbag on the driver's side and the passenger side as well, creating the luxury sedan where even peace of mind is shared. The new 929, the first luxury sedan from the new Mazda.
It just feels right. There's a cologne that preferred men prefer.
Preferred stock cologne from the House of Stetson. Smooth and extra special.
Preferred stock cologne. What preferred men prefer.
I was afraid to go to the doctor. I didn't want to hear that I might have an ulcer, but I just couldn't ignore my stomach. You can imagine how relieved I was when my doctor said Mylanta. He told me it wasn't an ulcer. It was indigestion. And indigestion like mine needed a strong medicine.
Mylanta is strong medicine, strongly recommended. In fact, Mylanta is the antacid doctors recommend most.
My doctor said Mylanta.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. By the new Mazda, it just feels right. By Norelco patented lift and cut shapers, we make clothes comfortable. And by Mylanta, the antacid doctors recommend most.
Seahawks place kicker John Casey had hit 13 straight. Now he's missed 2 in a row, Dan.
Well, you got to think that Norm Johnson, having set records up in Seattle for so many years, he's got to kind of have a little quiet giggle about that because, you know, losing your job to a young guy and then you have to go someplace else, you know, that has to be a give me in the NFL, and Casey just didn't get it done. That's called a missed kick.
First down from the 20 for the Falcons. Mike Rozier, as soon as he got it, bottled up. Cortez tried to hang on. Rozier did a good job just to get back to the original line.
Big Cortez, number 96. For this defense to play well, he should be a big factor each and every week. There you see him just firing upfield. Jamie Dukes, the center, has no chance on trying to block him. And if you watch his level of lean, that determines to me how well Cortez is going to play. Is if he's down low, he's a factor. If he's up high, he's not so good.
We look at the Hurts 10-minute ticker. Rusek with a field goal, a 5-point lead for the Eagles now. You know all about double teams, Dan, from all your days with the Chicago Bears. I think Cortez is going to see that the rest of his career.
Well, he might as well get used to it.
2nd and 10 from the 20. Miller on the quick rhythm pass, complete. Pritchard hangs on this time. And his horse countered down after a gain of only 3 to the 23.
You know, this offense has an awful lot of facets to it. You know, certainly when Broussard went out, maybe that was a little bit of the running game that we probably would have seen more of here when they're in the lead. But they have a timing pattern gear, and then, of course, they have a gear where they try to stretch defenses. Right now, I think we're just going to see that timing pattern where they work on those quick little routes, let those receivers uncover. Miller going to find them and throw the ball to them.
Well, both Jerry Glanville and Chuck Knox losing starters on the offensive side today. Knox losing Kelly Stauffer, his starting quarterback, and Steve Broussard through for the day with an ankle injury for Jerry Glanville. Falcons 6 of 10 in third down conversions. This is a 3rd and 7 delay. Rozier with a big hole. And Mike Rozier, the former Cornhusker. He's got the first down.
You know, a lot of times a play is designed to block people on a draw play. Basically, you let the defensive players take themselves out. There you see Cortez up the field, 96. You see Jacob Green up the field. They've got to turn and retrace their steps to stop a draw play. There, Cortez a little slow in his reaction back to the line. Rozier able to pop it for a good yards.
So now Atlanta 7 of 11. Kind of like those numbers for the gambler Jerry Glanville in third down conversions. They've got a first down at the 41. 11 minutes, 35 seconds left in the third. Rozier again, diving straight ahead across the 45 to the 46 for just about 4. Oh, when Mike Rozier was waived by the Houston Oilers the first week of October last season, Jerry Glanville didn't waste any time. He grabbed him right away.
Well, obviously, Jerry knew an awful lot about Rozier when he coached at Houston. Rozier had some pretty productive years down there, but for the most part, the last couple of years haven't been real pleasant for Mike. And It's good to see him getting a little bit of playing time, and he's a back that you can build an offense around. I just really haven't figured out why we haven't seen more of this guy. I thought he had an awful lot of talent for a lot of years there that we didn't see.
The 1983 Heisman Trophy winner, the single set behind Miller. And he gets his number called again. Rozier to the 48. Forward progress to the 49. Short of the first down by just about 3.
Well, a few minutes ago, we saw Cortez Kennedy on what we call a jet charge, just getting upfield, working against 64 Jamie Dukes. Here, Dukes does a good job of screening him. Rozier, instead of staying in his original course, he veers back behind that block, able to get a couple of yards where a few plays ago, he was killed in the backfield.
Still a very powerful runner. It took Como and Wooden to finally get him down. And now it's 3rd and 2. Who can't maintain his footing and comes up short on the first down drive. So they will have to punt it away.
Well, I was out on the field before the game, and I thought it was in pretty good shape, Joel, but I have seen players slip. I mean, it's unbelievable. I cannot believe how many players have slipped down. I guess I've seen 6 or 8 so far in the contest. So, that field, it looks good. It's pretty slippery out there in the middle of it.
Well, we were talking about Mike Ken, the left tackle in his 14th year from Michigan. You would have to think it's made a difference that he's been able to spend his entire career on the grass as opposed to what you went through when they had the AstroTurf at Soldier Field, Dan.
Well, I don't think he would have played 14 years in a dome.
The wobbler. Fullhay gets the roll. Warren stays away, and it rolls out of bounds right around the 6-yard line. Job well done by the punter for the Atlanta Falcons. It wasn't pretty, but it was effective, and Craig and the Seahawks have it back.
The white zone is for immediate.
We didn't design the new Mazda MX-3 to be like apple pie. Jalapenos were what we had in mind. Because if something's not worth having an opinion about it, it's not worth having. And with the only V6 in its class, the MX-3 is one hot chili pepper. Hey, you're not John Doe. Why drive his car? The new MX-3 from the new Mazda.
It just feels right!
Full roast out here. We're 1,000 miles from anywhere. Is that a ship? No one will save us.
3 Miller Genuine Drafts.
Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. For those who've discovered its real draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
This man's incredibly close, comfortable shave comes from the Norelco razor. But to see how he got it, we have to go back to when he began shaving. Not just above the skin, but below it. Here, our patented lift and cut system lifts the hair so when it's cut, it can actually drop below skin level without the blades even touching your face. Try it, and you'll keep going back to Norelco for a perfect shave. Norelco, we make close, comfortable.
The Oilers, playoff bound. The Giants, out to deliver the Blues. Next Saturday.
With this, the last regular season home game for the Falcons at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Who can forget some of the great ones like Billy White Shoes Johnson, the thrills he provided, so many others like Tommy Nobis, Jeff Van Oak, and who can forget Steve Bartkowski, so many years the quarterback for the Falcons. We welcome you back to Atlanta. Joel Myers with Dan Hampton from the 6. Craig in the offense, throwing out of his own end zone and going for the bundle, looking for Brian Blades. It's up for grabs. Machias with the interception. Hands it off to Sanders on the lateral. Sanders on his way. May go all the way. Only Craig. He's in. Touchdown Atlanta.
Joe. I mean, I have seen an awful lot of defensive players in my life. but I have never seen anything turn on a stadium as quick as this. Look at this. Mackay gets the pick this time, gives it to Dion, and Dion uses that world-class speed.
We'll come right back, take another look at it, but first the extra point by Norm Johnson. Right down the middle. Atlanta is hotter than ever right now.
Well, it's electricity, and this guy brings an awful lot of it to the field.
Primetime, showtime, and the Falcons lead it by 19.
Hello? This is Thelma downstairs. What was that?
Diet Dr. Pepper. It tastes more like regular Dr. Pepper.
Can I try one?
I'll send George right down.
When the Mazda Miata first came along, it was like nobody else's baby. But then it was designed to be different. Now the Miata will be joined by 5 new Mazda cars, like the MX-3 Sports Coupe with the only V6 in its class, and the 929 luxury sedan with dual airbags standard. Cars as pure and personal as the Miata. Designed to be different? You bet. The Miata was just the beginning.
Hi. Dave Thomas travels the world looking for new food ideas for Wendy's.
Boy, I sure could go for a Big Dave's Deluxe.
A quarter pound of fresh beef cheese, 3 strips of bacon, sauteed onions, the works, only at Wendy's.
Got ketchup?
It took all day, but they finally came up with one very big idea. What do you bet they printed on a laser jet from Hewlett-Packard?
He's back. This time we get it. STP gas treatment. Cleans intake valves and fuel injectors to help engines run better. STP, the edge.
Anything goes in Atlanta, and Mackay with his 6th interception. I like the decision he made, Dan.
Well, it's obviously a great decision. As we talked earlier, they work on this. Get the ball to our fastest guy. And look how fast this guy's moving. Johnny, it looks like something out of an old Superman movie. You know, when they speed up the film and the guy, that's unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen that type of play and how much it affected a crowd. I mean, it was almost like electricity shooting through the air.
Well, they got another version of Billy White Shoes Johnson, who performed from 82 to 87. And Mackay making the interception with Neon Dion, the big play. Chris Warren on the return from the 6. And the special teams down in force again, and they are special. They have blocked 7 kicks this year. The special teams unit for the Atlanta Falcons. So many people forget it's a third of the game, Dan.
Well, I think a lot of people overlook that, and a lot of the things that a special team effectiveness brings is field position. We talked about how great the field position for Atlanta has been today. Well, a lot of that is special teams. You play good defense, you have good special teams, then your offense can they can have a bad day and you can still win. But I think the reason these special teams are playing great are they're very, very fast, a lot of speed, and the other thing is attitude. They want to get out there and hit somebody.
And these fans, a sold-out house at Fulton County Stadium, want more. John L. Williams. They string it out well. Williams breaks tackles, though, to the 19. It looked like he was going to be dropped around the 14. He gets 3 when it looked like it was going to be a loss of about 3. The Hurts 10-minute ticker.
I don't know if you saw that on that last play, but number 86, Travis McNeil, the big tight end, was trying to block on Dion. Deion Sanders he was just skating down the line like a linebacker. Now, we pointed out earlier in the program how a guy like that can be a factor all over the field. Well, we've seen it 3 or 4 times today. He was able to string that play out and stop the run pretty much by himself.
It's at the 19. We're at 2nd and 7. 8 minutes left in the 3rd. And Craig has to go through the hands of McNeil and almost picked off. Jordan was there, also the linebacker, Tuggle. Nothing going right for Craig on the offense.
Well, Craig is facing just a 4-man rush here. He has time. He opts to go across the middle to the tight end, McNeil. It's a good pass. McNeil kind of sees a little flash out of the corner of his eye. And that's something that you got to look for in a team. When they start losing their focus, or they'll start losing their concentration, you're starting to wonder, hey, are they thinking about next year or just getting through this game alive?
Now 3rd and long. 3rd and just about 7 from the 19. Blades makes the reception right at the marker. The Falcons contesting that he did not bring it in cleanly. Quite a grab by Brian Blades.
Boy, this is going to be so close. I mean, it's just a matter of inches. I'm standing right over the yard marker, and I don't know if we're going to be able to see it, but I tell you what, I think it's imperative for this Seahawk offense to get a first down, because if they don't, they are completely out of this game, because it will only add fuel to the fire. Atlanta's on the verge of wrecking them right now. They need to do something to get a little momentum back.
You joined us late. Seattle did not even have 50 yards of total offense in the first half, and they do have it by the nose of the football. And only 2 first downs so far this afternoon for the Seahawks.
Well, that's the first one since the opening drive of the game. And, you know, I think it shows you exactly what has progressed here, which is the Atlanta Falcon defense has completely taken the Seahawks out of their game plan. And that is, after they hurt the quarterback, the Seahawks had nothing to come back with, and they just been basically out there falling around. They need to get something going.
So that was the 3rd first down, actually, and they've got it at the 26. A little breathing room for Craig in the offense. Play action. Looking for Tommy Kane. Was he in bounds? Yes, and another first down to the 39. Pulled it off, working on Tim McKyer. And when we watch film of Atlanta, it seemed like everybody was throwing McKyer's way.
Well, it's not that McKyer's not a player. It's just when you look on the other side of the field and you see Deion Sanders and the things that he can do, especially when you throw the ball at him. You know, obviously he's going to be covering someone. Well, that's great. Let him cover somebody. But the thing is, if you throw the ball over there, you try to capitalize on Deion Sanders, he's going to burn you an awful lot of the time. Now, we saw McKyer come up with a big pick.
On the field has been a completed pass with the runner then going out of bounds.
Okay.
Now Tom Dooley and his crew waiting this. It's obviously being reviewed. It looked like he dragged that 2nd foot, though.
I don't think there's any question. He had both feet down. Now you'll see his left one down. He's dragging the right. Time to get on and play some football, folks. But about those corners, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize. A lot of teams have never asked their players to do something that Atlanta has asked their corners to do. That is, hey, 90–95% of the time, we're going to put you on this guy, get you up there in his face, and that is a scary position, because you're only a slip away from getting burned each and every week.
First down from the 39. James Jones won't get away. Green's in there.
Tim Green was so excited about playing again. We talked with him yesterday, and he's been here 6 years, and he says, hey, you know, it's like we had never had a chance to really show what we could do. And you know, you talk about a team, and it's exciting to see a team turn it around, turn the corner. And after watching them so far today, Joel, I think this team has turned the corner. And like Tim Green says, last week when they won out in L.A., hey, you know, it's great to see the football gods smiling on the Falcons again. And I think there's a lot of good things in store for this kid.
Well, it's 2nd and 11. Deep drop for Craig. Pocket holds up. And Kane turning all around. Yes. The flag goes down on Tim McKyer. He got a piece of the receiver. The ball was thrown behind Tommy Kane.
Well, I didn't see exactly what it was, but it looks like McKyer bid on the out pattern. Then once the receiver turned upfield, either he tripped or McKyer tried to tackle him. Like I said, you're only one bad move away from getting burned when you play that bump and run. Now you'll see McKyer.
We got defensive pass interference. Number 22 on the defense. Automatic first down.
Well, McKyer tripped and more or less just kind of fell into him. It didn't look like it was anything premeditated. Maybe he tripped, I don't know. But all I'm saying is when you get up there in that bump and run, it's easy to make a mistake and it cost your team.
This is the most consistent drive of the day against Jerry Glanville and his defensive unit for Seattle. They've taken it from their own 16. The Atlanta 42, and they've got a first down. It's complete. Tommy Kane pulls it into the 35. 7 on that reception. We were talking about Tim Green at our meeting with him yesterday, and he mentioned how much he envied your situation. And he looked at other players that came out the same year in the draft as him 6 years ago, and how he didn't feel all that great even about going back to Syracuse because of the lack of success that he had enjoyed and basically didn't come through with down in Atlanta. Completely different story now.
Well, so he said, hey, this is going to be great. Go home and not have to apologize for being able to play football.
Second and a long 3. The blitz comes and wide open. It's James Jones. Case puts him down inside the 20. They gamble, and they got burned that time down to the 18.
Well, every once in a while, a quarterback will take advantage of that blitz. Now, you'll see a bunch of guys coming from the outside right there. Well, usually, if you can get the ball over their head, you can get it back out on the flat, one-on-one with the safety. Their Case able to get Jones down after a pretty good gainer.
Seahawks told us yesterday there's nothing conventional about this defense of the Atlanta Falcons. One play they'll bring 2 D-backs. Another play they'll send 2 linebackers. Tough to figure them out.
Yeah, like Sunnunu's travel plans.
It's inside the 18 where it's 1st and 10. Gregg going up top again to Tommy Kane. And the former hockey player from Montreal has it to the 15 for a short gain. Don't forget about the big matchup on NBC next Saturday afternoon.
Well, see, Craig able to get a little protection here, and he's able to find receivers if you can keep him back there in the pocket and give him a view of the field.
That's the Oilers and the Giants. It all starts at noon Eastern time with NFL Live. Big game for the Oilers. Trying to make sure they have a first-round bye in the playoffs. They've already wrapped up the AFC Central. This is the 9th play of the drive. It's at the 15. Craig for Jones, and he can't hang on. In and out.
Well, Dave Craig almost able to get a little something going here for the Seattle offense. Jones trying to get the ball on a spin move there. Loses it down through his legs.
So now a crucial 3rd down if they're to mount a comeback. When was the last time you saw a Chuck Knox team that had problems running the ball? But that's been the story all year long. They've had no consistent ground game. This whole drive has been through the air.
Well, it's your running backs catching the ball rather than running it.
3rd and 7. Almost picked off. He wanted Tommy Kane. And coming up, Bobby Butler, the extra defensive back. You're talking about the only 2 that were on that winning team. Back in '82, it was Butler and Mike Ken. And an injury to the Seattle Seahawks center, Grant Fiesel.
Well, Grant doesn't look like he's going to be able to go again here. Something in on his lower leg. That's kind of a big blow because they finally had the drive going. They had some things working for them. Now they lose your center. That's bad.
And now a decision for Chuck Knox. Do they go for 3 down by 19? We'll find out when we come back. They may be going for it on 4th and 7 when we return.
Is Milan Henelička, goaltender for the Czechoslovakian Olympic hockey team. He's taken hundreds of stitches, suffered 8 fractures, and has even been knocked unconscious. Yet he once went 11 consecutive periods without being scored on. But if you think it's tough to get something by him, wait till you see the guys at the ticket window if you don't have your Visa card. Because once again, the Olympics don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
In the right hands, even the most functional things can be art. So we asked a sculptor to design a new luxury sedan, the Mazda 929. And while it offers a generous list of safety features and amenities to comfort both mind and body, its richest rewards are for the soul. The new 929, the first luxury sedan from the new Mazda.
It just feels right.
I choose isotoner gloves. Whoa, did I forget anyone? Catch this. So you take care of the hands. Take care of you.
4th down tries have not been kind to Chuck Knox and the Seattle Seahawks this year, trailing by 19. A little more than 3 minutes left in the third quarter. They're going for it on 4th and 7, and already a lineman lifts up early, and that's big number 74, Warren Wheat, the left guard. That may solve their decision.
74, false start. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Nope. No. Casey and the field goal unit staying on the sideline. The extra wide receiver, Lewis Clark, coming into the game. Will Chuck Knox be back in Seattle next year? So much speculation. John Robinson reportedly out as the Los Angeles Rams head coach. And speculation in Los Angeles that Chuck Knox may be the Rams' next head coach. Movement again. It looked like the left guard again may have lifted early. And now the place-kicking unit finally comes onto the field.
Well, I don't think there's any question.
We have a false start on the offense, 74.
Now, Warren Wheat, the left guard, he's
4th down.
After losing the central field, maybe Warren Wheat was asked to do something a little bit special. You know they're going to blitz over a fresh guy at center. You see Wheat trying to get in there and help that Brias, the backup center. So he's just trying to help his buddy. Comes offside twice.
Now it's going to be a 43-yard attempt for John Casey, who's already missed a 34-yarder today. He's missed his last 2 straight after hitting 13 in a row to tie a team record. And this one right down the middle. Finally, Seattle gets on the board. 3 minutes and 38 seconds left in the third. 19-3, a 16-point advantage, and a long afternoon already for left guard Warren Wheat in his second year from BYU. He was originally drafted for the Rams and then claimed on waivers by the Seahawks. Will anybody listen?
You know, after you get a couple of penalties like that, you go over there and you feel like you just want to walk into one of those deals on Star Trek and just beam me up, Scotty, get me out of here.
He can't find anybody to stick around and talk.
Look, everybody else is about 30 yards away from him. Like, hey, don't go over there and talk to that guy.
Now the big difference, the ground game of Atlanta for Jerry Glanville. And they've had problems on the ground as well this year, but it has worked efficiently today. The tune of 110 yards already compared to only 33 yards for Chuck Knox in the Seattle Seahawks. So a balanced attack for Jerry Glanville.
Well, that's been like we've talked all day. That is the big problem in Seattle right now. They are unable to rush the ball. And, you know, John L. Williams is still a fine football player, but they can't get any production from the tailback position where they're averaging less than 3 yards a carry, whoever plays there.
Well, we've already seen a 52-yard touchdown and an interception returned by Prime Time, and Deion Sanders from the 5. Will it be 95 this time? No. From the 5, Sanders only takes it to the 14. And looked like he almost turned an ankle, but gets up and appears to be okay. The two-sport star of the Falcons and the Braves. And another two-sport star in the secondary for the Atlanta Falcons is Brian Jordan, their safety. Plays for the Cardinals AAA affiliate in Louisville. And will return once again to his baseball career. Here's Brian coming off a career game last week against the Los Angeles Rams. A couple of sacks, an interception, batted down a pass.
Well, he may have made the biggest play of the day when he sacked Sulfur in the end zone for the safety. That set the tone.
It's at the 14. First down, Atlanta, leading by 16. Delay for Rozier. And only to the 15 once again. So a yard on the carry. Terry Wooden, the left side linebacker, making the hit. They did get Dave Wyman back, which was a boost for Chuck Knox. He told us this morning he wanted to see a lot from Dave Wyman, who's been out for a number of weeks now with another knee injury, the same one that he hurt at Stanford. The right knee. That forced him to miss an entire year, his junior year for the Stanford Cardinal. But an opportunity to play over the last 2 games, as the Seahawks will wrap up the season next week at home against the Rams. And won't that be interesting? Robinson on one side of the field and Chuck Knox on the other. Rozier spinning for maybe a yard to the 16, and that is it. And I say it's interesting they'll be on opposite sides of the field because so many thought 9 years ago that Chuck Knox would be the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams and not John Robinson.
Well, it still could happen. We'll have to wait and see what happens here in the next month or two.
The Hurts 10-minute ticker, and Houston once again trying to overtake Buffalo for home field advantage throughout the playoffs, Dan, trailing by 4 at the dog pound. The Browns. The Eagles could lock up a wild card spot with a win today. The Jets, well, they're in that dogfight for the last wild card spot with the Miami Dolphins, and they're trailing to the Patriots by 3. And now 3rd and long. 3rd, just about 8 for Miller. Very mobile quarterback for Atlanta, but time runs out, and he's sacked back at the 5. Finally getting in, the defensive back, Nesby Glasgow.
Well, the guy that made that sack possible and the one that kept everything stirred up inside there was Jeff Bryant, number 77. You'll see Bryant working over on the right side. He's working a stunt with Cortez. Here Miller has some time, then he starts getting a little nervous, trying to get out of the pocket. Now you see Bryant right there. Now, that's the thing. A lot of times, the guy on the cleanup will get credit, but the ones that forces him out of the pocket are the ones that you really want to pat on the back.
Bullhead, his own end zone, and it's a short wobbler. Coming up on the run, Derek Lavelle, and taken down immediately. A great field position at the 35 for the Seahawks. They get it back, trailing by 16. Don't forget next Saturday, just talking about those Houston Oilers trying to raise their record today to 11-4. They are down by 4 at Cleveland. They'll be matching up with the Giants in New Jersey. So join us with NFL Live on NBC starting at noon Eastern time, and then doubleheader action next Sunday. The Jets in Miami, that critical matchup. Miami playing later today as the Jets are trailing right now by 3 to New England. Miami playing later today at San Diego. In the second game of our doubleheader, we'll either see the Raiders and the Chiefs, or Denver and San Diego. First down to the 35. Craig going for the bundle, looking for Kane. Intercepted by Sanders. That's his second of the afternoon.
Dave Craig Steve a little bit too often over on that left side now. You know, Deion Sanders, the terrific player he is, you cannot go into his neighborhood that many times and not expect to get burned.
If they ever waste great field position, Dan.
Well, I just don't understand some of the decisions that Dave has made today. I think he's a terrific quarterback, but, I mean, you hang the ball up there with one of the great athletes in the game playing in a bump and run, well, you know he's always going to be on that guy.
Second of the day, 6th interception of the year. And now what about the confidence the staff has in Dave Craig? First, they bench him, and now some questionable decisions, to say the least.
Well, you just hate to see a player go out and make those kind of dumb moves and cost his team some great field position.
First down for Atlanta. And almost nailed in the end zone. Cortez Kennedy racked up the rookie Eric Pegram. Well, Jeff Kemp was traded because Chuck Knox did not have confidence in the backup quarterback who subbed when Craig was out with that broken thumb. And now it seems like the staff has lost confidence in Dave Craig as well.
Well, you know, for an awful long time, you know, Chuck Knox had that kind of stamp of, hey, I'm not going to play a bunch of young guys that go out and make dumb mistakes. Well, it's kind of bad when you got some older guys good to go out and make those kind of mistakes. And, you know, like I said, I have great respect for Dave Craig. I just don't see how smart it is throwing the ball over there at Dion.
Yeah, we were just looking at Dan McGuire, the first-round draft choice. Problems for Miller. He wanted to set it up for Pegram. Looked like almost a middle screen, but it never developed. So it'll bring up 3rd and long, 3rd and just about 11 from the 1-yard line. Very dangerous, throwing out of his own end zone.
We can see that Cortez and some of the other guys on defense have decided not to use their phone cards and phone this one in. They're still out there pounding away, and I think that's important because, you know, when a team loses their faith and they lose direction, you'll see them start laying down. Well, I don't see that in the Seahawks defense. They've had some problems on offense today, yes, but that defense is still out there trying to make it happen.
Out of the shotgun. Miller on 3rd and a dozen. Holds up. It's complete, but short of the first down to the 10-yard line. So a punting situation once again for Atlanta. And that goes back to what Jerry Glanville told us yesterday when we were talking about the Seahawks coming in. Jerry, they must be down. He emphasized forget about their position in the standings and what happened last week. They play hard every Sunday for Chuck Knox.
And I think that's something you have to look for from any head coach. Once a coach loses his team, and once his team starts doing what they want to do, then it is time to make a change. But I don't see that out of Seattle yet.
That's the end of the third quarter. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station with the Falcons up by 16.
How far will designing women's Annie Potts go to knock off John Candy?
You big hunk of meat.
The network comedy premiere, Who's Harry Crumb? NBC tonight.
We do a lot of things with new electric technologies. We have a special group set up to work with our customers.
From Southern Jim, we talked on the phone about our pre-coated paint.
These people have done some fantastic things. They are really good.
Let's sit down and talk about this. We appreciate you taking the time to see us today. Can you outline your problems so we might see what we can do to help?
Our folks went out and took a look at what they were doing and told them about this new technology.
Southern Company.
And they put it to work, and it just came out beautifully, saving the company a lot of money. Now they're more successful. And that's part of our philosophy, that we're partners together. We're in it together. It's more than just a company, it's people, jobs, kids going to school. The South and the well-being of the South is very, very important to me, to our company. And that's the way we feel about it.
It's the end of the year blitz at your Pace Center Pontiac dealer with mind-blowing savings on all 92 Pontiacs. In addition to terrific local dealer discounts, get rebates up to $2,000 and interest rates as low as 2.9%. Simply outrageous. Your Pace Center dealer wants to sell you a car. But hurry, these spectacular deals won't last forever. It's Pontiac excitement like never before at the end of the year blitz, only at your Pace Center Pontiac dealer.
An insider's look from the stars of Hook on Entertainment Tonight.
An electric atmosphere at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium for the last regular season game for the Falcons in this ballpark. And well, they had Wayne Newton at halftime, as Jerry Glanville told us on NFL Live, performing an Elvis trilogy. Bull Haig.
I think Jerry probably thinks Elvis is here today.
Punting for the end zone. Well, and he booms one out. Warren going back and bobbling to the 44. And then run out of bounds across the 45 to the 46.
Well, you know, we talked about some of the other folks there. Diamond Rio was at halftime. I mean, they really went all out and tried to make this a special day because, you know, they've had an awful lot of good play out of this stadium with baseball and football and one thing or another. But this guy right here is probably the one of the real bright spots to come out of this stadium in a long time.
A two sports star, a rarity in this day and age, and in the same city, only the second to perform in the same city. Gene Conley the first for the Red Sox and the Celtics back in 1960 and 61. And Deion Sanders doing it for the Braves and the Falcons. And making things happen for both teams. Whose Blades dives and makes the catch to the 27.
Well, that's the way you have to beat that tough run, bump and run by these corners. You just got to throw the ball out there on the outside shoulder and hope that the receiver can outrun the corner. Now, that's exactly what happened there. Blades was able to outrun McCarr to the ball. Now, before, when Craig went the other way, I don't know if there's a receiver that can outrun Sanders. This is the way you have to beat him. Throw it over here on the McCarr side. I don't think there's a whole lot of sense in throwing it over there in Deion, especially when he's as hot as he is today.
It's at the 27. Another first down for Seattle. Jones and Williams, the tandem in the backfield. Pressure on Craig, and he's on his way down. The linebacker Tippins got in early. And Craig could never establish his footing in the pocket. Ken Tippins in his third year from Middle Tennessee State, adding depth to the linebacking group.
Well, Craig, coming off that deep catch, wants to go back and go back on the other side, throwing it over on Deion's side. But he gets caught up in a big chunk out of the field there, loses his footing. Tipping ready, able to get around the corner and get him down.
A bad lie if you're a golfer.
Well, you need to replace those size divots.
Second and long, second and 18. McNeil popped as soon as he took it in by Brian Jordan, another two-sport star we were talking about earlier. He knocked Kelly Stauffer out of the game if you joined us late. Stauffer went out with a knee injury on the second series of the afternoon. Now we look at the Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker. Still a 4-point lead for the Browns, trying to dent the hopes of the Oilers for home field advantage throughout the playoffs, which is right now the advantage of the Buffalo Bills in the AFC. And the Jets in the fourth, early in the fourth, still trailing by 3. So now third, and call it 7. Pressure again. It's complete and dropped. Chadwick had it and couldn't hold it. That was stripped away by the defensive back Tim McKyer from behind.
Well, they brought 7 guys at the line of scrimmage. McKyer up and a bump on run. Knows to expect that quick slant. He had some good coverage here. Chadwick unable to hold the ball. Almost got the official here, Joel. Almost got a tomahawk up to the head.
So another disappointing situation. Good field position to start the drive from the 47, but instead of a touchdown, they'll try to come up with a field goal. It'll be a 43-yard attempt for John Casey. He just hit a 43-yarder. And he bends this one in. A nice draw off the left foot of Casey. So now all of a sudden, it is a 13-point game as Casey comes through again.
Chug along. Pinstripe suits and high-heel shoes. The daily grind gives them all the blues. Don't work me over, I know what works good. While the best thing though is so misunderstood. Just give me what the doctor ordered. Just what the doctor ordered. Just give me a Dr. Pepper, we want it. Whoa, just what the doctor ordered. The taste that's made to order. We love it.
Acura would like to pose the following question. Could your heart benefit from the use of another 24 valves? The Acura Legend Coupe.
Remember our whatchamacallit?
We're here. Oh, check it out. Great. Bye.
How about that thingamajig? And that doohickey? At like you know who.
Bring the fish. I got this one.
Look at that. With what's her names?
You'll never forget your big moments with the new UC1.
Nice catch, Dan.
It's the smallest, slimmest Canon 8mm camcorder yet.
Oh, hi, Dad.
What you call the who's what's it?
The Canon UC1. You see one, you want one.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Acura Automobiles. Experience precision-crafted performance. By Canon, the official camcorder of Little League Baseball. By the Diamond Tennis Bracelet. This Christmas, give her the gift of love, diamonds. And by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered.
Sunny day in Atlanta and a sunny day for the Atlanta Falcons as well. Leading by 13, 19-6. But still, temperature in the high 40s. Jerry Glanville told us yesterday, we said, Jerry, this is a very loose group. How do you keep them so loose? He says, we are very open and honest about everything. In fact, if you get a disagreement with someone, we have 2 buses. First bus you get on if you're happy. Second bus, that's for fighting. You want to fight with someone? There's a chip shot picked up by an up back. Take it to the 26. If you want to fight, you want to get it off your chest, second bus is for you.
I kind of like that.
Joe Fishback brought it back, the extra defensive back reserve from Carson Newman. And now with 12:34 left in the contest, can Atlanta put together a long drive, eat up some of the clock? It's a first down. And the ground game has not been the same, Dan, since Steve Broussard went out with that ankle injury. They had a very effective ground game in the first half, but it slowed down somewhat in the second half without number 34.
Well, it has, and now that Miller's able to go ahead and move the ball by throwing it, I think they can go back to that now and try to go ahead and burn the clock.
Richard goes in motion. Rozier getting the work now with Broussard out across the 30. It's just about 5 on the carry. Let's head to New York for an update now and check in with Bob Costas.
Joel, my man, in past years, a Bengals-Steelers matchup late in the season almost always had playoff implications. Not today, but Bubby Brister trying to establish something for himself back as the starter after last week's controversy on the sideline when he refused to go into the game. Throws his second touchdown pass of the day, hits the rookie out of Texas, Keith Cash, from 19 yards. 17-10, Steelers over the Bengals early in the fourth.
Thank you, Bob. Well, BB not only stands for Bubby Brister, but the bad boy of Pittsburgh. He always makes some noise. Second and just about 6. Rozier again. Big hole for Mike. Nice run for the first down near the 39.
Well, on that play there, the left tackle, Mike Ken, and the left guard, Hoover, did a great job working against Jeff Bryant. Able to go ahead and get him down inside. Ken passed him to Hoover, and then Ken goes and gets the linebacker. You'll see it on the left side. See, he passes him over. Then he goes and gets the linebacker. That is smart. That is experience, and you know, a lot of times, those young guys come out of college. They know how to block, but they don't know who to block. There, Mike Ken knew exactly what to do when Jeff Bryant went down on a stunt.
Good call, partner. It's first down at the 39.
Once again, that old experience.
Woods was ready. Falcons weren't quite there as Ryson left a little early.
Well, prior to the snap, we have a false start, 7-8 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Left tackle Mike Ken.
Now, old Father Time couldn't wait here for the snap. He's a little worried about Woods and his upfield pass rush. Mike able to play still on his smarts and his skill, but even the best of them have a little snap problem like that once in a while.
Well, the noise you can hear in the background, it's starting, and we're not at a Florida State game either. First and 15. The tomahawk chop in force. It's complete to George Thomas. He got the touchdown for Atlanta earlier today. Chop as they're making noise in the background. They're not flapping with that noise in the background.
Now we've seen the chop. Now you're talking about that Falcon flap. I don't know how much I like that Falcon flap.
Well, you know, if you're going to go with it, you've got to be the size of Dan Hampton to get away with it.
I think they're questioning your masculinity if many of the guys are doing it.
Second and 8 from the 40. To Rison. Andre Rison for the first down in Seattle territory. As if there was any doubt, the Falcons trying to put the Seahawks away for good. 28 yards of the reception. The National Football League's leader in touchdown catches coming in today with 11.
Well, you'll see Miller, the same view that he sees of the safety rotation. 41, Begum is right there in the middle of the field. He's able to hit a seam between him and the cornerback, James Jefferson.
I know you love Jeff George, and we've seen Jeff a couple of times this year. But that deal has meant so much to this franchise. Rison and Hinton coming over, and then picking up Pritchard, the rookie out of Colorado. With that draft choice, they also got the #1 from Indianapolis. As opposed to the Los Angeles Rams on the first down carry, not much there. As opposed to the Los Angeles Rams in the Dickerson deal, when they got all those draft choices from the Indianapolis Colts and also the Buffalo Bills with Bennett going to Buffalo, they didn't make the most of their opportunities with the draft choices.
No, they didn't. And that's the thing about Atlanta. I mean, that I think, turned the corner for this Falcon offense. They got 3 quick starters out of that trade, and now Chris Miller's growing up and becoming one of the top quarterbacks in the league. I think you're right. I think that was the trade that turned the corner for this Falcon program.
It's at the 30, where it's second and 8. Under 8.5 minutes remaining. A 19-6 Atlanta lead. Pocket holds up well for Miller. Going into the end zone. Touchdown, Michael Haynes.
Eugene Robinson a few minutes ago, not get out there on that seam pattern. Well, the next thing you know, he's kind of staying in the middle a little bit too long, worried about those seam patterns. They run the streak down the sideline for the home run.
He's the big play man. Well,
That's what we talk about by being patient. You take the things underneath, and then you get a seam opened up here and there. Then you hit that. Then when they get worried about all those other things, then you can throw it to a guy that can just run it down the field and get deep and get open and catch it for the touch.
30 yards on the touchdown to Michael Haynes. He had averaged 44 yards on his previous touchdown catches. He loves the home run ball from Chris Miller. And that basically puts away the Seattle Seahawks for good.
It does. You'll see number 41, Eugene Robinson, just a step off there. Eugene, like I tried to explain, he was worried about those seams. Hung in the middle a little bit too late.
The blowout is on it.
Stars, and you'll find now on video for a limited time.
Hey, you're not gonna believe what I got you. Hey, look, it's Fantasia. It's just for you. Well, all right, maybe not just for you. I mean, I gotta tell you, it's magic. That's right, Mickey. Yeah. Between you and me, this was our only chance to get it, and I didn't want you to miss it.
Walt Disney's masterpiece, Fantasia. It's the perfect holiday gift.
Well, of course I got it for you. I'm your dad. Fantasia is ours forever.
It's a fast-paced, get in, get out, gotta go world we live in. So, why not sit back and enjoy the ride in a luxury performance car designed to keep up with it? The 5-cylinder, 20-valve Acura Vigor.
Home for the holidays with Domino's Pizza's Season's Greeting Special. Now get a medium pepperoni pizza for just $2.99 with your favorite large pizza at the regular price.
Nobody knows. Ho, ho. Like Domino's, how you like pizza at home.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Call Domino's Pizza right now and you'll be enjoying a hot, delicious pizza when the game is over.
The red gun is red hot in Atlanta as the Falcons lead it by 20. Joel Myers with Dan Hampton at Fulton County Stadium. The Falcons on their way to their 5th straight win to raise their record to 10-5 as Norm Johnson gets into it. It'll be brought back by Chris Warren from the 4. And a nice return across the 35 after the 38. As Johnson got downfield. Make the stop as well, the place kicker. And Cleveland still maintaining that 4-point lead, Dan, on the Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker over Houston. And Houston would no longer have any chance of overtaking Buffalo for home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Philadelphia clinging to a 2-point lead over Dallas in a critical game over in the NFC. Detroit trying to keep up with your old team, the Chicago Bears, as the Jets having problems offensively today. They're in that showdown with Miami for the final wild card spot in the AFC. Craig, it's complete to the running back. And making the reception, actually, David Daniels, the rookie from Penn State.
Well, Jesse Tuggle making the tackle on that play. I kind of think he's the bell cow of this Falcon defense. They use an awful lot of different players. A lot of guys coming in and out of the lineup, but this is one that will stay on the field the whole game, and he's kind of the one that makes the big plays for him.
Led the team in tackles last year, as you can see, leading the Falcons, and stops once again this year. Here's their workaholic, as Dan mentioned. It's complete with a first down to Doug Thomas, and now all of a sudden they're starting to look at some of the kids. And that's what they wanted to do at the outset today. Not that Kelly Stauffer is a kid, but they wanted to find out what he had.
Well, Craig is going to go ahead and go back and throw it to this underneath coverage. Obviously, Atlanta is just going to stay off of them, let them come up underneath, make the catch, and then try to tackle and force a fumble.
So 2 rookies at the wideouts now. It's not that warm, buddy. It is Christmas, though. Just about here. McKyer, they're working on him again as Doug Thomas was the target, the rookie from Clemson, the 2nd-round draft choice. So both rookies are in now. Thomas and Daniels, another rookie from Penn State, a third-round draft pick. And tonight on NBC, the NBC News specialist Tom Brokaw anchors the Democratic debate. The declared presidential candidates engaging in their first nationally televised debate. It all starts at 6:30, 5:30 Central and Mountain. And the country is hotter than ever. Travis Tritt, Tanya Tucker, Mary Stewart, Shelby Lynn, Charlie Daniels Band, the Hot Country Nights. Dan, you're on top of that one, I know. And then John Candy. We'll get back to that. It's complete. And John L. Williams with a flag down deep in the secondary. John Candy and Who's Harry Crump later tonight on NBC.
Well, you know, I've caught Hot Country Nights a number of times, and if you're a fan of country music, Joel, which I know you're a big fan of country music, you've got to tune in.
Jerry Jeff Walker's my favorite partner.
We got offensive pass interference, number 86. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
And got to watch it tonight with Charlie Daniels. Not many favorites going on this afternoon for Chuck Knox, though.
Well, one of Jerry Jeff's favorite songs, the L.A. Freeway. Got to wonder, could Chuck be going back south?
Will this be the final season for Chuck Knox in Seattle? Ken Berrien, the owner, reportedly overheard on the sideline last week that he was upset with some of the personnel that was being used. Decisions to be made. Second and long, second and 20. And Craig's on his way down.
Well, the blitz finally got there. Craig having to make a quick decision, unable to pull the trigger. Falcons finally swarmed him down. It looked like Big Rick Bryan, number 77, coming on a stunt here. You'll see him looping there, unblocked. Feasel unable to get out and get him. When it goes bad, it goes real bad.
Now, Rick Bryan, one of the undersized threesome up front. When you talked to Tim Green yesterday, you said, what about that small defensive front you're part of? He goes, I'm sick of hearing about that little line from guys like you, Hampton.
Well, I tell you what, you get against a team like Washington, you're going to have some big bodies to slow them down.
John L. Williams pulled down by Jesse Tuggle. And now it's still going to be third and long. It's been third and long all day for Seattle as far as they're concerned. So many close games that got away from the Seattle Seahawks. And when we were talking to Chuck Knox, he says, you know, just a few missed plays. I mean, this season has just been exasperating for the Seahawks head coach. Dave Craig missed so many games when Jeff Kemp had to take over with the broken thumb. And now fourth down in a punting situation. But so many close games, like San Francisco last week when they lost in the final 90 seconds of play by 2. And they lost it. Close game at home to the Raiders earlier, lost by 3 at San Diego. So many games decided by a touchdown or less. It's brought back from the 4 by Brian Jordan. Not Deion Sanders back there, and he takes a shot right around the 7-yard line. So it's been decided with 5 minutes and 4 seconds left as we return to Atlanta.
Good. Now I can go to bed.
Wait a minute. I want to give you a gift while we're alone. Something just for you.
A washer and dryer?
Come on, will you be serious?
Okay.
Close your eyes. Come on. Merry Christmas.
This Christmas, give her the gift of love. Diamonds.
Acura would like to pose the following question. Could your heart benefit from the use of another 24 valves? The Acura Legend Coupe.
Christmas Day, it's a battle for L.A. as James Worthy and the Western Conference champion Lakers meet their crosstown rivals Danny Manning and the Clippers. Then, Christmas night, the battle we've all been waiting for as Michael Jordan and the world champion Bulls take on Larry Bird and the Celtics. A special Christmas Day presentation of the NBA on NBC.
Last regular season game for the Falcons at Fulton County Stadium. Saw Billy White choose Johnson earlier on a touchdown reception, and who will forget quarterback Steve Bartkowski, the all-time passing leader for the Atlanta Falcons. Hammer time. It's hammer time. They are all out. Wayne Newton performed at halftime. Jerry Glanville's got his pals here. First down from the 7. Rozier trying to bounce it outside. Tony Woods puts him down close to the 10.
Well, that's pretty much the way it's been for this Atlanta offense all day. It's been hammer time. They've pretty much controlled the ball. They've got a huge advantage in time of possession, but the real key was the Falcon defense. The Falcon defense took the Seattle Seahawks completely away from what they wanted to do. Haven't had a chance since.
Clock continues to roll. Miller far from spectacular numbers, but picked up third down, scrambling a couple of times, picked his spots well, got the job done, especially on third down. They were at one point 7 of 11 on third down conversions, and now 7 of 12 overall. Mike Rozier weaving his way. Still a great late drive. Dan out to the 13-yard line. Joe Nash making the stop for Seattle. Almost 300 yards of total offense for Atlanta. And Seattle has picked up a little bit in the second half, considering they only had 40 yards of offense in the first half. 130 in the second half.
That is kind of unbelievable.
The Dr. Pepper 10-minute ticker. And now Dallas has jumped out on top of Philadelphia by 5. Steve Berline doing a sensational job subbing for Troy Aikman. And the Jets still having their problems with New England at home, trying to keep up with the Dolphins, who play the Chargers later today on NBC. Third and short, and the ball tipped at the line of scrimmage, falls incomplete. So Atlanta will have to punt it away. It looked like Tony Woods may have gotten his hand on the ball.
Well, a lot of times an offensive tackle can do too good a job. Here, Woods doesn't even really have a good pass rush. He's on the line of scrimmage. Ken had him so blocked that he was able to see the quarterback try to throw the ball. Woods up, being able to jump up and bat it down. But you can't fault that offensive line. I think they've done a great job of protecting the quarterback today, and that's the reason for the Falcons winning.
Bullhaig punting from near his own goal line with Derek Lavelle back at the 45 for the Seahawks. Misjudges it, and it sailed over his head. Now picks it up. He'll be pounded inside the 25-yard line, back around the 23. 3:05 left as we come back to Atlanta with the Falcons on top by 20.
It's a good thing they're BVD brand underwear, because if they were anything else, they could be a little embarrassing. BVDs, you're better off with them on.
Home for the holidays with Domino's Pizza's Season's Greeting Special. Now get a medium pepperoni pizza for just $2.99 with your favorite large pizza at the regular price.
Nobody knows. Ho, ho. Like Domino's, how you like pizza at home.
First down for Seattle, trailing by 20 from the 23. Craig going for the rookie. It's complete to Doug Thomas. Just short of the first down by a couple of yards. As we take a look at today's Canon camcorder replay of the game, no doubt about this one.
Well, I think this is as spectacular a play as you'll ever see a defensive back make. McCown makes a great interception, but here is Sanders using that knowledge of being a return man to just attack the field. He doesn't try to get cute. He just runs right to the corner of the end zone. That was an amazing play, and that was a real backbreaker for the Seahawks today.
Now, don't forget, with the win, the 5-game winning streak, the first since 1980 for Deion Sanders and the Atlanta Falcons. With the win today, coupled with a loss by the Saints tomorrow night, Matching up in the Monday night game with the Raiders, the Saints would win their first division title since that 1980 edition when they went 12-4. Jones can't get to it. Just a little bit underthrown. Tuggle out in the flat trying to keep up with the running back. Yeah, we just saw that spectacular play by Deion Sanders. And he is our Avis We Try Harder Award MVP.
Well, it's not even close, Joel. 2 picks, and then on the pick by McKyer, he just runs it in for a touchdown off of a lateral. It's an amazing day by this guy.
It's a team that does the spectacular, not only defensively, but on special teams as well because of Deion Sanders and some of the others.
Got an awful lot of speed, and that just comes to play a whole lot more on the special teams.
It's complete on 3rd and short to Travis McNeil. He's got the first down. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. But so often we all forget, and Jerry Glanville emphasizes special teams. He did it at Houston. He's also done it once again in Atlanta. But coaches always tell you it's offense, defense, and special teams, and we always break it down into thirds because they're just as important on special teams.
Well, so much of the time you get that lip service. Yeah, we work on special teams. Well, here in Atlanta, they really work on it, and they make a big concentrated effort on making sure they make a lot of big plays and no minus plays on special teams.
First down from the 39. Thomas in and out of his hands with flags down on the play. Deion Sanders defending. And was it interference? The illegal use of hands against the defense. That'll make it 5 in a row for the Falcons. They have taken 7 out of their last 8 games now after losing 4 of their first 7 this year.
Illegal hands to the face. Number 21 on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, it looks like Deion's going to the head here a little bit. It looks like a good jam there. But right there, well, I have a hard time finding a problem with that. He had a little extra bump there after about 10 yards. I don't see a problem with that.
Well, the California state champs are now the new West Coast champs. All 6 wins against California teams, and now they've taken care of the team from the state of Washington. 7-0 against the West Coast for Jerry Glanville. It'll be their first ever win against the Seattle Seahawks, who have taken their first 4 games in the series, and another sack as Craig goes down.
Well, that's a coverage sack. You know, in the box scores, it's going to look like they had a lot better pass rush than what they had. But, you know, David Craig has had a hard time figuring out who to go to with this ball. And, you know, a lot of times you don't see that type of pressure put on a quarterback. You know, when you get up there on those receivers in a man-to-man deal, quarterbacks aren't used to it, have a hard time figuring out who to go to.
Fortunately for Chuck Knotts and the Seahawks, we have reached the 2-minute warning in Atlanta.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes, 1988. 23 seconds to go. The Patriots trail by 3. Local hero Doug Flutie does it again.
Flutie fakes the handoff. Naked bootleg low. Flutie lots of running room. Touchdown! Touchdown, Doug Flutie! The excitement is back at Sullivan Stadium. 23 seconds left, 4th quarter. Doug Flutie, touchdown. This place has gone icky-palookie.
Recycling aluminum beverage cans can help save money, since they're worth more at recycling centers and at curbside pickup. Save energy, since they have more recycled content. They save landfill space, since more than 63% of all aluminum cans made are recycled. Yes, recycling aluminum cans saves more of a lot of things, which helps save one more thing. Aluminum beverage cans. Why in the world would you buy anything else?
It's a fast-paced, get-in, get-out, gotta-go world we live in. So, why not sit back and enjoy the ride in a luxury performance car designed to keep up with it? The 5-cylinder, 20-valve Acura Vigor.
The more income your investments earn, the more taxes are taken out. But with Nuveen tax-free investments, the more you earn, the more you keep. Ask your financial advisor about Naveen tax-free investments, or simply call this number.
Well, what time is it in Atlanta? As we said before, it's hammer time. He's something. He is something. Reason to celebrate. 5 straight wins, a 10-5 record, and a shot at the NFC Western Division title if the Saints lose tomorrow night to the Raiders at home. The completion. Lewis Clark has it. Did Craig ever have to deliver that early?
Well, Craig's done a good job hitting a couple of streaks over there on that left side, but maybe a little bit too late.
It's down to the 38. As what's left of this crowd is ready to erupt. Lewis Clark again, leads to the 30, just about 8. And coming up next is the Old Spikes NFL Live postgame report. Time permitting, we will shift over to the Houston-Cleveland game for the conclusion of that contest with Marv Albert and Paul McGuire, if we have the time. Hopefully it'll work out. Too legit to quit. Hammers everywhere. Second and 3. Craig with time. One of the few times today, John L. Williams with the first down to the 24-yard line. Well, Jerry Glanville with a cameo role in the MC Hammer video. What is next on the screen horizon for Jerry Glanville? We know he won't be appearing with Elvis in the near future.
No. In fact, I think Elvis has more life than the Seahawk offense did today.
Touchdown. Finally. As soon as you said, Lewis Clark gets one. They finally get a touchdown.
Well, I'm proud for David Craig. He's hung in there all day against some pretty tough times, but a little bit too late to be a factor now. You got to think Craig likes this. Throwing it back over there on Sanders' side is a perfect pass and a perfect route. Dion doesn't like it so good, but hey, he more or less put the game away with that return off of McCarry's interception early on. Can't win them all there, Dion.
Casey in for the point after. And the first touchdown of the day for the Seattle Seahawks comes with 63 seconds remaining.
This Christmas, Tandy Computers, some of the best-selling PC compatibles in America, are on sale at Radio Shack. 4 complete systems with color monitors start at just $599.90. All come with 24 unique home organizer programs. The more powerful RLX system is the perfect home office machine. And with hard drive, it's just $1199.95. The Tandy 1000 family of computers. So easy to use, we guarantee success.
Radio Shack, America's technology store.
Updating the NFC Western Division standings, the Falcons now with a 10-5 mark with the victory today. And a Saints loss tomorrow night. Atlanta with their first division title since 1980. An Eagle loss, and they're trailing by 5 right now, would also assure the Falcons a spot in the playoffs as a wild card team. And don't forget, as we talked about at the top of the telecast, they control their own destiny. Now they've got 50% of the job done. They're at Dallas next Sunday, and it doesn't make any difference. We can put up all the scenarios you want. If they beat Dallas, they are the NFC Western Division champs. Hard to believe what happened to the New Orleans Saints in the second half of the season as they try to snap a 4-game losing streak tomorrow.
Well, you know, they lost their cornerbacks. They lost their starting backfield. They're a team going the opposite direction. Atlanta is only getting better as the season wears on.
As you try to find momentum going into the playoffs, the big bounce off the onside kick. I believe it went out of bounds before it was controlled, and it belongs to Atlanta, yes.
You know, looking at this Atlanta team, they're exciting. They've got a good offensive package. Probably the only thing they don't have is that dominant, big defensive lineman, a guy that can really control it inside. But they've got an awful lot of good players.
Billy Joe taking off the jacket. No, Jerry, please don't make me take off the jacket. He will be taking over at quarterback now for Chris Miller. Billy Joe wanted to talk about yesterday was his short game. He's a good golfer. Great golfer. Corralled us yesterday talking about a new sand wedge. And he is in the Celebrity Golf Championship each year on NBC. The champ. Smile, champ. Your team's on top. Evander Holyfield. Well, the Seahawks do have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Will they use them? Yes, believe it or not. With 59 seconds left, they stop the clock. They're trailing by 13. So 2 timeouts left for Chuck Knox in Seattle.
Boy, that's hard to believe. Someone calling a timeout. Hey, the game's over, folks. You should have done something about it earlier. Well, calling timeout's not going to change it now.
Well, they had timeouts remaining with about 50 seconds left in the first half when they were down by 12, and we questioned the decision at that time because they had all 3 timeouts left. They didn't use any, and they let the clock roll when they could have gotten the ball back. Now, they got it back to their own 10-yard line, but they still would have had about 40 to 45 seconds left with 2 timeouts. And they elected to let the first half clock run down and go into the locker room down by 12.
Well, maybe Cortez called a timeout wanting to burn a few more calories out there in that 40-degree weather. I don't know what else they could figure on doing or accomplishing out there. But that's going to be a long plane ride back to Seattle.
Hard to believe that so often over the last few years that Chuck Knox team has gained momentum, has always been the type of team to come back in the latter stages of a season. Last year they won 4 of their last 5 when they won the division back in '88. They won 6 of their last 7. This year they never performed that magic with 4 of their last 5 games at home. They have dropped 4 of their last 5.
Well, maybe that's the reason there is talk about Chuck and making changes. Usually you're right. They usually only get stronger and better as the season wears on. This year they went the other way.
Never had a ground game this year in talking about the Seattle Seahawks. Something that always symbolizes the Chuck Knox team. All the way back to his days with the Rams, Lawrence McCutcheon, the Buffalo Bills, and the Electric Company. But never could find it. Derek Fenner, never a factor this year. After gaining almost 900 yards last year, he was obviously in the doghouse because he was not used at all. And last week, he was one of the 2 inactives. And don't forget, it's the Old Spice NFL Live postgame report coming up next.
Well, I think that's the big problem. They have got to get a tailback that can stretch the defense. And, of course, they've got to go back and find someone that gives them stability at quarterback. You know, they've started 4 different quarterbacks. No one's really got it done. So, you know, I think those are the 2 big questions. How are they going to solve those?
Houston has taken the lead now late in the 4th quarter at Cleveland. And stay with us. Time permitting, we will take you to that game at Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Dallas leading by 2 over Philadelphia. The handoff to Pat Chafee out of Oregon State. And now Seattle uses their final timeout, so they will get the ball back. 50 seconds remaining as they trail by 13. And the Jets are shocked at home.
That's unbelievable. You know, at this point in time in the season, you know, you talk about answering questions. Well, that shows me right there that the Jets are still a lot further away from being a sound football team than a lot of people realize. I mean, you've got to win this time of year at home, and they didn't get it done.
And now the Jets are 7-8, so Miami, matching up with San Diego in just a few minutes, can wrap up that final wild card spot with a win today over the Chargers, raising their record if they win to 9-6. And now the punt coming up from Fulhay.
Joe, you think that Glanville's going to go ahead and put another level or 2 on that California trophy and go ahead and make it the West Coast trophy?
Automatic.
Put another couple of stories on it.
And a new team photo with surfboards included. Nobody back as the Seahawks went all out for the block. They'll have it at the 20-yard line as the clock stops with 40 seconds remaining. So the Seahawks with the loss dropped to 6-9 on the bottom of the board. As you can see, the AFC wildcard picture. The Raiders, Kansas City, Cleveland, believe it or not, is not mathematically eliminated if they can overtake Houston trailing by 3 now at home. But the Jets fall to 7-8, and Miami can wrap up that final wild card spot with a win today. If they can raise their record to 9-6, the future of Chuck Knox up in the air. 2 years remaining on the contract for the Seattle Seahawks head coach, but both Chuck Knox and the ownership of the Seahawks with a 30-day window at the conclusion of the season. And either party can decide to terminate the agreement.
Well, that window is probably going to be as big as a garage door after the way the season has started to wind up for these guys.
Craig out of the shotgun. They're out of timeouts, trailing by 13. It's complete to the rookie wide receiver who takes quite a shot. David Daniels, the rookie from Penn State. The clock continues to roll. This is a hurry-up offense from a very tired and sluggish group. Dump off to Jones. And that'll be the final play of the game. So the Falcons pick up their 10th win of the year. Jerry Glanville has 5 straight victories. And with help from the Raiders tomorrow night, the Falcons could very well be the NFC Western Division champions late tomorrow night if the Raiders help out and beat New Orleans. Don't forget the Old Spice NFL Live postgame report coming up, but we'll be right back in Atlanta.